In your arms so tight, you let me know everything's alright. I'm hooked on a feeling.
He crushed it.
I'm high on
It's a grand slam.
that you're in love with me.
I'm telling you, it's time to party.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to episode 16 of the SoxHub podcast, home of the 30 and 30, 500, third place, completely mid Boston Red Sox. I am your host, Brandon McAlery, and alongside of me is the one, the only, the zesty lefty slinger himself, Trotty to Hottie, aka Matt Trotta. How you doing tonight?
You know how B-Mac, living that 500 record dream, running at God's speed. How about yourself, buddy?
I'm just living my best average life. You know, I was working last week and I had a coworker who made a comment that said, be incredibly average at your job. Don't go above and beyond and don't do less. Because if you go above and beyond, people expect a lot out of you. You go less, you get fired. She was like, be average. And me, I'm an overachiever when it comes to work. However, it dawned on me, I was like, this is some smart thinking. Because if you do too much, people expect too many great things out of you. If you do too less, you either get fired or people just expect nothing out of you. You're not reliable. And that applies to the Boston Red Sox right now. 500 baseball. If they're doing too much, people expect them now to do great. And so when they don't do something, people get mad, they get pissed. They play below 500, people are still not happy about it. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, well, what are you going to do?
This approach can work at times, yes, Mac, but when you're doing it for 3 years consistently, that's when people get a little frustrated, especially in the game of baseball, and that's exactly what the Red Sox have been doing the last 3 years, is average. That's all it is average. Nothing
Just
less, nothing more.
average. And it's sad. Just shout out, just because we talk about it. We haven't been able to really do one of these, but just shout out Bull Cider Whiskey. I miss it. I really do.
Man.
I would love it to be violently delivered right now.
Oh, me too, man. They got an overhaul of stock back at the warehouse, and quite frankly, Lou Brown ain't gonna stop making the Bullet Slider whiskeys, so it's only one resolution to this issue, brother, and that is for the Red Sox to start winning baseball games, and more importantly, a bunch of series in a row. And man, not to jump ahead, but there's a couple opportunities here on the horizon ahead of us. Ain't that right, young feller?
A lot of opportunity, if you ask me. This young feller over here, this young little whipper snapper, as some say. But like, let me just tell you, just incredibly mid. They went banana splitsky. Like, I'm sorry if that's trademarked or anything, but like, there's no other way to call it. Like, they split, like I said, they probably would.
Yeah, it's a very poetic for the year here so far. You mentioned their record. It's only the right and fitting thing to do if you're trying to consistently be average, is by splitting a series best of 4, 2-2. It just only makes the perfect amount of sense here for how this season, and quite frankly, like I said, the last 3 years have been rolling.
But like, if you even think about it, because now it's just dawned on me as you said that, it's a perfect thing to do in a 4-game series. Split 4 games, win 2, lose 2. But I think back to a lot of the other series that we've played, and it's like we will get our teeth kicked in for 2-3 games and then go on a 2-3 game winner. Or like we'll go 2-1 and then go 1-2 in the next series. And it's like, yeah, they're just incredibly mid. I can't say it enough. And let me ask you this. Are they like a frustrating mid? Are they an enjoyable to watch mid? Are you like, okay, I can see the foundation what's coming of this mid, or are you just like, this is terrible mid baseball?
I understand what they're doing. I wouldn't call it enjoyable baseball necessarily. They're not mid because they've been underperforming per se. I would say that for that first month of the year because of how poor the defense was doing. And that was the Achilles heel when the pitching and offense was doing pretty damn well in retrospect. Now that you're looking into it, the defense is sustainable now beyond belief. You haven't heard a peep out of negativity regarding the Red Sox defense as of late in like the last 3-4 weeks.
Oh, okay.
We haven't heard too much. Have you?
I was to say, well, I haven't heard too much. I just saw a little bit, and that involved Manuel Valdez coming back up, and
Yeah.
but
Yeah, take him out of this, and I would say the Red Sox defense woes are done, and the defensive celibacy, in a sense, has gone away. Now, the celibacy of the defense has now trickled into minimizing the production from the first month looking into the second month of the season with the starting pitching. The offense cooled down a lot, mainly due to the injuries. But, man, as of late, it's not exciting and it's not boring to watch. It's just average. That's the word of the day. That's the word of the pod, is you kind of just get what you're expecting out of this pitching staff, which is like giving up 3 to 5 runs a game as of right now, and you're expecting the offense to strike out 7-8 times at least, and you're praying that we don't go down by more than 3-4 runs in that ball game at any point, because you're really safe to turn it off at that point. I haven't watched a game once this year in recollection where the Red Sox have come back from a game down 3, maybe one time, that's it. 4, definitely not. So if you got better shit to do once it's like the 5th, 6th inning and we're down by 4, go do that other shit, because the odds are heavily in the favor that the Red Sox will not make a comeback. But yeah, no, it's just average to watch. Average production by Nesson, average performance by the players, just average.
I agree. And you did make a point about the defense celibacy is kind of out the window. And not that it was fun to begin the year with that, but like it just gave us something to talk about, at least how bad the defense was.
It gives us something to focus on and get frustrated at. Like right now, you can't really get frustrated at much. It's just like
Exactly.
we're just average. We're like, this is what we should expect right now with the lineup we're putting out and the pitching staff and the names that we have on this. It's like,
But it's also like at the beginning of the season, like I feel like you and I were like, if we just, did this right in this game, didn't make this error, if we make the adjustments on defense, we're maybe a 5, 6, 7, 8 game above 500 team. And that just, once we fix the defense, like offense just completely went celibate. We might be talking about celibacy on the offense. And
it was a really
starting pitching.
Yeah, starting to. It's just really hard to continue with the spark that the Red Sox, this young Red Sox group and coaching staff started with at the beginning of the year. It's hard to sustain that through like multiple months throughout the year to begin it. You normally see these really hot, like chemistry built teams like the Red Sox were hot for that first month or so span, like they were. And then they'll start cooling down, coming back to earth once you're getting into the summer months. If they can tread water, it's really only going to take just one hot month for this Red Sox team to put themselves into contention for a wild card spot. They haven't even had that hot month yet. You can say the pitching staff has, but that's not the whole entire roster. If they keep doing what they're doing and they have one hot month, one hot period where everything goes well together and they go on like a 17 and 14, 17 and 12 sort of record in a month, that puts them in a really good spot and in contention for a second or third wild card spot, as long as they can sustain with the average, quote unquote, play that is this true brand of 500 baseball we've seen the last 3 years. So if you're average for every month except for one right now in the AL, I see us making a wild card spot. There's no doubt in my mind. Especially with the fight they show early on in the year, because that normally comes back at the end of the year and in playoff time times 10 with these sort of groups. You just need that 1 month, man.
Which I could see. I mean, we made our predictions for like the month. Last episode, I had predicted right down the money, and hand to God, I didn't even like try to plan that. I was
wasn't
just looking at the
intentional.
games, and I was just looking like, okay, we're gonna maybe win this, lose these, and it came out to fucking 13-13.
You had 13-13. I had 14-12. So we're not predicting. The SoxHub boys are not predicting that this month of June is going to be the Red Sox month.
Exactly. But if they can do what they've been, and I know this is going to be incredibly hard, but continue just to kind of tread water, keep your head right above it, and ideally, if they can go 14-12, that would be nice. Get 2 games above that 500 at least for the month, because then I was going to save this for later in the pod, but like we have injuries that are coming back. I'm not going to go down the full injury thing, but
It's like we're acquiring through the injured list instead of by trade right here.
Exactly. I mean, we hopefully have Casas potentially coming back at the end of June, early July, right? Masataka Yoshida took on-field BP this week. He should be starting a rehab assignment either later this week or early next week. And then O'Neill, I'm hoping that this 10 days off is going to feel good for him and maybe help him just get right mentally and kind of get back into the swing of things. But he's supposed to be eligible, or he's shooting to come off the injured list right when he's eligible. So, you're getting 3 big names back right there, especially Massa, who we've been missing in this lineup, which the one thing that I think he provided, despite what everybody wants to shit on him for, was consistency. You kind of knew he was going to put the bat on the ball. Yeah, you're going to see some rollovers here and rollovers there, but line drives, he was going to put the bat on the ball and stop striking out as much, pretty much.
When we get these injuries back with Tyler O'Neill and Masa Yoshida specifically, leave Casas out because that's an easy fix. We just take out the bum shit dumpster fire that's been going on at first base since he went down. But the outfield specifically in that DH spot, what do you see us do to maximize the production offensively, but at the same time sustain what we've been improving throughout the course of the season defensively with this lineup? Because you got Cedon Rafaela that's been doing his thing in center field, and you and I both know we want him there absolutely all day. You got Jarren Duran that's playing game-changing defense in left field and at times in center when Lil Rafi was at shortstop. And then you got Willie Abreu playing what you love in right field, what I thought was just average. He's incredible with balls in the air, but balls on the ground, it's just I have a heart attack half the time, but good enough for what we need. When Massa and O'Neill come back, though, what does this do to the offense in the lineup? That's my biggest question for you. Massa goes to DH, that's easy, but Tyler O'Neill, Willie Abreu, Jarren Duran, Lil Rafi. You have 4 guys there with 3 spots, unless if you put Lil Rafi back at shortstop, Duran in center, and Willier or O'Neill in the corner outfield spots.
So I actually think this is a great question, and not ironically enough, my brain doesn't think that far ahead sometimes. So I'm very happy you asked this. So
I got you.
Obviously, with them coming back, Massa comes back, and like you said, that's an easy fix at DH. However, he wasn't even playing before when he was just a DH. He wasn't finding the at-bat. So I could see a couple scenarios, realistic, and then what I would want to happen. I could see Massa playing once, twice a week and getting a few at-bats. And if that's the case, he's never going to get hot or anything like that, because you need consistent at-bats to be able to consistently hit and be good at the major league level. Very few guys are pinch hitter or once a week type guys. O'Neill, I have a feeling they're going to take it easy on him with the knee and the head and stuff like that. They're probably going to want to DH him more times than not.
So platoon him and Massa.
They could get platoon. However, they are giving Willie Abreu that rookie treatment of sitting him against lefties, and especially tough lefties. And so he's only seeing righties. So now if he's sitting, Tyler's either out and right, maybe Rob's out there, and somebody else is DHing like Tyler or something like that.
God damn, I forgot to mention Robbie's back.
Rob,
freaking
exactly.
Over 300 right now for us. Man.
And it's not like you can DFA or send him down because he's one of our more productive bats. So there's something to do with that. In my mind, obviously, maybe Emmanuel Valdez goes back down. And Vaughn Grissom, if he comes healthy, he stays, maybe gets an extra rehab stint, an extra long one to try to get back right and stuff like that. However, there's no timetable right now for his return. We're going to get that, but he landed on the injured list, obviously. So now I think, to your point, you move Rafi to short, back to short. You move David Hamilton to second base, because David Hamilton has shown, as much as we gave him a lot of shit, the improvements that he's made. He's shown that he could play second base.
Yep.
And you put him there. Now you have little Raffy. Now you have Duran out in center, and you have a spot open up in left field for either a Rob, a Tyler, or a Massa if you are desperate. I don't see why we're not putting him out there. I don't think he was that bad last year, but either way, you get what I'm saying. But again, too, maybe we DFA fucking Cooper, and Rob tried to play first base this year. Like, it didn't seem terrible in his minor league stints and rehabs and all that stuff. Yeah, Cora,
I wouldn't hate that.
Put him there. But, like, you have him. And then on top of it, too, you have Wong, who I know it's not a long-term option, but Wong could occasionally fill in at second base, whether it's a late-inning replacement. Hamilton needs a day off or something like that. And you have Reese who can go behind the plate. So the thing about this roster is, and it's something that Cora and the front office have talked about, is flexibility with them. And that's why they didn't necessarily want just a DH. They wanted to be able to rotate guys in and out, give guys days off, and move guys around. However, I think it's huge that Cora has the ability to have this flexibility with the roster. Obviously, ideally, you would love 9-star players that play their position 162 games a year and are dirt dogs and whatnot, but that's just not today's game anymore, unfortunately. Like the most unbeatable record in the world, in my opinion, is going to be either Cal Ripken's longest game streak or Cy Young's wins, because pitchers aren't going long and players aren't playing every day.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was curious about that for the last couple of days, looking at all of these tweets and news articles coming out on these injured list updates for the Boston Red Sox. Because we just have so many outfield pieces that we don't know what to do with, that are all relatively producing at a above average level here across major league averages. So that kind of brings me into my next question here. With all these surplus of outfielders, trade deadline, we need some pieces in the infield, it looks like, a little bit here, with like a little bit more of a sustainable util guy for the infield. Because the outfielders and the DH spot, I mean, we can platoon and give guys rest days all day long, but when you only have David Hamilton here as your second base shortstop, and then you have Ceddanne Rafaela kind of playing shortstop as a backup position, like, you can't really give many off days to those two guys or Rafi Devers, unless if you're putting Bobby Dahlback in the lineup, who is now on the Boston Red Sox here. Spoiler alert. But I don't know if we're going to put him over there at third base just to give Rafi a day off. Like, taking that outfield and selling a couple of those pieces that you don't think are necessarily long-term after this year to supplement either a util defensive piece that can play anywhere in the infield, or another starting pitcher, or a couple relievers, that would go a really long way for this group, and I think take us away from as much mediocrity as we have been seeing.
Very well put. However, you said one thing in there that really, really stood out to me that I need to touch upon. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Dahlbeck is back in the big leagues. They bring up the prospect. This man is the second coming of Jesus Christ himself. My God. It's exciting. The offense is safe. Defense is safe. We are back, baby, because you guessed it. Bobby Dahlbeck is back.
My God. Jesus Christ, indeed. If you haven't heard about Bobby Dahlbeck yet, man, you're going to want to tune on in for his opening major league at-bat, whenever that may be. He hasn't gotten one yet since he's gotten called up a couple days ago, but when he steps in to that batter's box for the first time, you are going to see something very similar to what happened to Paul Skeens' opening day start in the major leagues. The world is going to stop whatever the hell they are doing immediately to tune in to Bobby Dahlbeck's first game in the major leagues as a Boston Red Sox. And this man has been going off in AAA Worcester.
You tell him, Trotty.
It would make sense for Robert Dahlbeck here to go big fly in his first game back with the Boston Red Sox, man. I can see it happening. And, quite honestly, no more bet. He has gotten called up and down, 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 up and down so many goddamn times, and has sucked and then been nasty in AAA, that this wave is about to crash and change, and Bobby Dahlbeck is finally going to figure something out. Whatever the hell he is going to figure out and figured out, he's figured out, and he's going to be the guy that we need him to be, which is somebody that doesn't strike out 50% of the time, maybe 25% of the time, some more balls in play, some more balls in the gaps, some more balls over the fence, and continue to play some stellar first base defense. And when we need it, a little bit of third.
You know what? I got to say this. Listeners, if you're out there, you're listening to this right now, just put your hands together real quick for Chadi Tuhati, my boy, all right, over here, for bringing the positivity to Bob Dahlbeck. I don't know if this is like a reverse sweep psychology type thing where before he was shitting on him, bringing him down. Now he's like, you know what? I'm just going to root for the fucking guy to go out there and succeed, because why the hell not? He's on this team. I'm hoping you want what's best for him, but let me tell you, I firmly believe, I don't know why, we're going to do a little Max crystal ball here. I am not saying by any means any version of 2021 Bob is coming back, but Bob has flashed the upside. Bob has the tools. Bob has the ability to be an average to above average bat at the MLB level. The question is he ever going to put it together? Let me tell you, what better time than the 2024 season when the Red Sox, there was a fucking bug right there, when the Red Sox are filming a documentary on Netflix. They are a mid-baseball team. They are going to be scratching and clawing for a wild card spot. And Bobby motherfucking Dahlbeck comes up and is the savior of this squad. He goes off. He bats 270 to 280, hits 10 to 15 home runs, steals a few freaking bases, and he does this thing. And then next thing you know, Craig trades him at the deadline. I'm just kidding.
Or he keeps both of his God appearance mooses in Bobby Dahlbeck and Tristan Casas, and he puts one at first base, one at DH, and they're the goddamn Bash brothers that the Netflix series wished they had from the jump. You notice that the Netflix guys were just recording Tristan Casas 24/7. Well, that's obviously not happening as much anymore with him hurt. You can only take so much of him tracking pitches in the bullpen for that series. They have a unique opportunity here where they have another chiseled, handsome young feller playing first base in a similar fashion as Tristan Casas. So they're going to have to focus a little bit more because everybody loves their power, slugging, handsome first baseman right there. And Bobby fits that card, just like Tristan Casas. So the Netflix Hollywood world is going to attach to him on the hip, or a freaking viral disease. And what's Bobby going to do with it? Bobby loves the light. Bobby loves the show. And he's going to give them a show. He's just going to have to give the illusion that it is Worcester, Massachusetts, and it's Polar fucking Pack, not Fenway fucking Pack. And I think that he can do something. You know what? Better yet, I got an idea. Since they're not going to pay money for the team, how about we pay money for the grounds of Fenway Park and we completely update and adjust the dimensions of the ballpark? That's what I'm saying. We change the dimensions and appearance so it looks like Polar Park instead of Fenway. That way Bob is comfortable enough to go the hell off here. I think that's a really smart move. If they're not going to invest in the trade market, if they're not going to invest in the free agent market, the least you could do is let your minor league Babe Ruth, Bobby Dahlbeck, feel comfortable at the major league level here and just make Polar Park Fenway Park here. Just do it. And I think you will be very grateful for that decision.
I'm not going to lie to you. That might be the best idea that you've had on this podcast. Just upping Polar Park and putting it on top of Fenway. And don't get me wrong. Everybody loves the experience of Fenway Park. However, you and I talked about this when we went to Fenway. The chairs are not that comfy. I sat in the plastic ones this time and they finally felt a little something there. But I've been to Polar Park. The experience is electric. The beers are good. The drinks are good. They got freaking barrel pickles. You can buy a pickle that's this freaking big and that thick. And it's a sour pickle. Let me tell you.
Would we eat that the University of Virginia banana way, or would we eat that your corn on the cob way?
I'm talking, we are going to eat that UVA way. We are going to take that bad boy and just right through
Okay.
it.
That sounds like a very solid attraction to bring me to Polar Park right there. That right there. That is a great, great concession item. Hopefully they have like all you can eat popcorn where you can bring the popcorn bowl back and refill it. Same with the drinks. Because I know a place that doesn't provide that opportunity for their fans. Yeah, we got to go to a Polar Park this year, man. We got to go to a game soon.
That's
Jesus.
what I'm saying. I know you and I had talked about going to the Hartford Yard to go see Portland play July 13th. But you know what? We know a guy who's got some season tickets and ironically enough has offered us like at least 5 different games. And we're both like, unfortunately, we're busy that day. So you know what?
Yes,
One of
sir.
these days we're going to have to accept those tickets.
We have to.
But
And then, sorry, we're going to reschedule our original plans.
you did talk about this, how you know that there's one park that doesn't do free refills anymore on the popcorn and the souvenir drinkies and stuff like that. Shout out to whoever the hell the vendor was that helped me out, because we were at the game against the Brewers on that Friday. I forgot to mention this last pod, but you and I were walking back to my seats. I had the souvenir soda. I had 2 dogs in there, and I think 2 mixy drinks. And we're walking through the crowd, dodging bullets and shit like that. And as we stand still, I dropped the whole freaking soda that I just paid for and filled it up. And I was like, fuck, my wife's going to kill me. So we take a walk back. We go over. I kindly asked this guy. I was like, listen, I was just here. I just filled this up. I dropped this soda. And my wife's going to be pissed if I come back and don't have a soda for her. Could I potentially get a refill? And you know what he said? He said, you know what, brother? You came to the right vendor. Any other vendor here was going to charge you again for that soda. He goes, but me? He goes, I'm going to just fill that bad boy up for you. Give me a whole new cup, whole new straw, everything. Shout out to him. You may not have gotten free popcorn, but I got a free refill on my soda for dropping.
Not all heroes wear capes, Mac.
No, they certainly do not. All right, let's actually jump into this podcast here a little bit. I know we've kind of been jumping around and hinting at some stuff here. However, electric start, if you ask me.
Oh yeah. You already know. It's the standard.
All right, so right before we get into the games here, and some of the topics that I have to discuss are related to the games, but one is not even a new segment, but the June call-ups, and not to be mistaken with September call-ups, but we've already mentioned it, hinted at it, and pretty much gave it away. But we have Bobby Dahlbeck, who came back up, and Manuel Valdez, who came up, and Jamie Westbrook. First time ever in the big leagues at 28 years old, getting called up to be on the major league roster. And they were replacing Whitlock, who got transferred to the 60-day IL. Romy went down on the IL with a hamstring injury, and Vaughn went down with another hamstring injury. Not ironically enough, but it was on his opposite leg that he hurt at the start of the season. So they're up replacing them. And let me tell you, we've already talked about Bob. Let's touch on Valdez real quick. How do you? I mean, I know we had no other options, but how do you feel about Valdez being up here and not taking anything that he did in these games?
I like his hit tool. He can hit a little bit, but it's just the defense I cannot deal with, and I don't have any more patience with. I can't deal with him there defensively in the lineup. I can tolerate the offensive production that he brings to the table and the potential that he has, the ceiling there, but I feel average about it, Mac. I feel average.
Which honestly, average, as you know, is the theme of this team, just completely average. But I'm with you on that. I mean, I'm hoping that like this isn't a Bob scenario where he sucked up here, went down to AAA, became Barry Bonds, and then came back up and is going to stink again. I'm hoping to see a better version of him. But you did talk about the defense, and there's something I want to touch on that, and it doesn't directly impact him, but it impacts the team as a whole. Is this team is very youthful. All right, we have a lot of young guys. Hamilton is 25 years old. Vaughn is 23. Little Raffy's 23, but like 6 months older than Vaughn. Duran's 27. Devers, again, young. Casas is young. Like Cooper and Dom are like, and Tyler O'Neill, I guess, who's still only 29, I think, or 30 years old, are the veterans on this team, if you will, outside of the pitching staff, on the offense and defensive wise side of things. Yeah. And so we have a youthful team where we know we got to expect mistakes when that happens because they're young, they're adjusting to big league baseball and stuff like that. But one of my biggest complaints was adjustments, where adjustments with the bats, adjustments with defense, and I went on a tangent about just making adjustment at the major league level. And I do think they've made adjustments defensively because it shows. I mean, they've worked hard, and there's a lot of in-season instructing, I think, that is going on from shout out Kyle Hudson, the third base coach, who also works with the outfielders. We have the second best defense in the outfield in the league at 7 defensive run saved. Okay. Our infield has gotten incredibly better as the season has gone on. Just routine plays are being made, and generally that's all I can ask for. Occasionally, the tougher play is being made. Now, obviously, we saw a few errors in this series, not to jump ahead there. But long story short, my whole point to this is we are seeing in-season adjustments, which is really good. And for me, that at least makes me excited for the future. And it gives me hope that Valdez can maybe make a few adjustments, whether it's offensively or defensively. Because right now, I think I'd rather take his offense over his defense. But if he's not going to supply either,
What good is he? Yeah, I see the same thing you're seeing right now.
Yeah. So we'll see that. And then the last call up to talk about and just touch base on, and we're going to talk about a story a little bit, is Jamie Westbrook. Incredible story to the big leagues. And it's not like an incredible, like a Cam Boozer who suffered and went through everything he did, or like Bernardino's story. Like,
No, nothing like that.
It's not like, do you remember Evan Gaddis?
Yeah, he was an indie ball guy, the one with no BGs, the beard, nothing below the jersey. Hit for Houston.
Yep, Houston.
First baseman, catcher, right?
Braves at one point, yeah. And
first base catcher, DH.
He was a janitor after he quit pro ball. Tried to take his own life a couple times because he just felt like he was going nowhere, and then got a chance again and became like a perennial 30 home run hitter for like 3-4 straight years. It was pretty impressive. And I'm wondering if Jamie Westbrook, now again, none of these are as like depressing as the stories as some of these other ones, but Jamie Westbrook is 28 years old. He's been in the minor leagues for 11 seasons. I pulled some numbers here. AKA, I got them from a article. I completely forgot who it was. I will shout you out once I get it. Played 11 minor league seasons, 1,159 games, almost 5,000 at-bats in the minor leagues. Like, that is a lot. That whistle just cleared up my ear. That was weird.
How old is this motherfucker?
Jamie's 28, but it's just an incredible story to be there for 28 years. And he had talked about it a little bit, how he got a call from his manager, and he was like, I'm finally excited that I'm the manager that gets to give his call, but you're going to the big leagues. He said he blacked out and all this stuff. Cause like he had talked about, he goes, to a certain extent, like you're in the minor leagues for that long, like self-doubt starts to creep in, and all this, like, should I retire? Should I, move on to something different and stuff like that? And he finally got the call. So honestly, I'm hoping for the best for this kid. I genuinely.
Me too. Yeah, that's awesome. Also from Springfield, Mass.
Mm-hmm.
Springfield, Mass guy. He moved to Arizona when he was 10, 11 years old.
Yep.
I don't know if he's had his first AB yet or anything like that. Has he at the major league level yet?
He did in this series.
Okay, we'll get to that.
Yep. But
cool. Shout out to Westbrook.
Shout out to Westbrook for making it to the big leagues. One thing I do want to note is, so one of his like off-season best friends and like partner that he works with is Tarek Skubal, who, as we know, is probably
very cool,
pretty close to the front runner of the AL Cy Young. I think Houck obviously is going to cause some steam there, and I really hope so for my own sake. But Tarek Skubal's like they nicknamed him the Barrel Man because he BP just always found a barrel, and live pitching and stuff like that in the off season would just always find a barrel. Like this dude, like Tarek Skubal was talking about how as a lefty he threw a backdoor slider to him, painted on the corner, and he hit it out opposite field for a home run. And he's like, he'll never see that pitch again because that's not a pitch that's supposed to be hit for a home run. Like it was perfectly executed, and as a lefty pitcher, like backdoor slider, righty should not be taking that oppo for a home run.
No, unless if you're sitting on that. Speaking of Tarek Skubal here, I'm currently got his game on in the background. He's only given up 1 earned in 5 innings here, and that earned run came in the first inning. Since then, he has been absolutely nails. I thought tonight was going to be the night that Tanner Houck would be like your borderline outright Cy Young guy in the race right now, but Tanner has mellowed out quite a bit here and just got a strikeout to end the fifth.
Yeah, Tarek is an animal, and I know we're not a Detroit Tigers podcast, but he's an exciting freaking player. He was throwing 95, 96 before his Tommy John surgery, had Tommy John surgery, and is out throwing like 97, 99, touching 100. It's fucking.
Did you see that interview? I know we're jumping ahead a little bit with this question, but did you see the interview in like game 2 or 3 that they did during one of the day games with Tarek Skubal? I mean, side note, thank God we didn't see this guy in that 4-game set. We lucked out and missed his start. But did you see that interview at all? They were asking him some pretty cool questions.
What did they ask him? I know we're jumping ahead, but we're not.
They did bring up that like post-Tommy, post-surgery thing, like you gained velocity out of nowhere. What were you working on during like your comeback?
Recovery.
Yeah, and he said the changeup was his biggest thing. He didn't necessarily have that back then, and they wanted to implement that back into his recovery process and into his on-ramp, just to take a little bit of usage off the other pitches a little bit more. And they thought that it would play a lot better with his fastball specifically. And that's been one of the saving graces for his season this year so far is his production on his changeup. And he gave a massive shout out to that specific pitch in his arsenal throughout that entire interview. But overall, he seemed like such a laid back and chill dude in that interview. He'd be great for the Red Sox, but no chance in hell. Anyways.
He's always smiling, too. Every time I saw him in the dugout in this series, he had the biggest smile on his face. And I was like, that dude just looks happy. He's pitching well, playing for a mid-team, doing his thing, and probably loves these guys.
They caught him on the broadcast completely off guard. Like, you could tell his responses were somewhat scripted, and they asked him beforehand in a sense where he was prepared for him. There was one specific that he's like, hey, like, what's going to take the Tigers over the hump here? Like, do you think you guys got a shot at the playoffs? Like pretty much something like that sort of question. And he like was fumbling on his words a little bit, a little rattled on what to say. It came out okay, but he seems like a guy that needs to be prepared for just about anything and can't free ball it necessarily.
That actually reminds me, because I feel like I did either see part of this or I was watching another interview by him, and it might have been when the Tigers were playing the Pirates, and I don't know if I'm mixing up the two, but they asked kind of the same question, and I saw that same thing where like kind of fumbled his words and was like, well, it's a great group of guys. Like we come in, we work hard, and like it almost seemed like, if you ask me, he was like, no, we have no fucking shot at the playoffs. Like, what are you talking about?
Yep,
like
that's kind of what I struck through that answer as well.
Like we're not that good. He wasn't sitting there like I'm the best player on this team. Like without me, they're nothing. He was just like kind of Cora's comments, which we'll get to in a minute. Like we're just mid. Like we're not that great.
Yep, he summed it up pretty well. He was very professional with his answer, despite not being prepared.
Exactly. Which brings me to our next topic before we get to one more that will get us into the series, the start of the series, the Tiger series here, is Sam Kennedy's comments on WEEI and then Cora's rebuttal to it. Sam Kennedy pretty much came on and was like, we're underperforming. You know, we've gotten injuries to major guys, especially with the competitiveness in this clubhouse. We need to be better. And then he even threw some Sox players under the bus to why they're not performing well. And if you ask me, just terrible take by Sam Kennedy, because it's clearly the front office's fault for not supplementing this team with either another star or just being the Boston Red Sox. We're not going to harp on that though, because we've already talked about that all the time. Everybody's talked about it. But he kind of like gave a dig at Cora too. I forgot exactly what he said, but he kind of gave a dig at Cora. And so Cora came on the WEI show, whether it was later that day or the next day, and pretty much had said like, you know, me and Sam are boys. Like he actually called me after the interview and stuff like that. And I told him, I go, you're not a 6 a.m. guy. You should probably do the 2:30 p.m. show. And he had pretty much said like, well, I mean, Sam's not wrong. Like we played 500 baseball for the past 2-3 seasons now. And it's what we are. When you're playing 500 baseball, you're just okay. And he pretty much admitted that's what we are as a 500 team. And I'm curious, when your manager admits that you're a 500 team, How does that make you feel about your team?
If you're a player on it, it either goes one of two ways. You're either like, I agree, or they're in outrage because they're blinded by, their optimism on the year, and they want to go and prove that manager wrong or whoever did the interview wrong. You know what I mean? It's either they're going to agree with it or they're going to be pissed off at it and have a little chip on their shoulder and be like, oh, yeah, Cora, we're not just a 500 team. We're a little bit better than that, buddy. We're a 55% win percentage team. How do you like that, bro?
How do you like that 55 percentage winning rate there, the Boston Red Sox? But no, I think that's a pretty good take on it there, where like it's either one of two ways. If you're a player, you're like, what the fuck? Like, you told me I was the best player last week or something like that, and here you are telling us that we're incredibly mid, pretty much. Or on the flip side, like it could be used as a chip of motivation to be able to go out there and say, you know what? Our manager says we're mid. Let's go prove the entire fucking world wrong, which I don't think they will. Personally, I think they'll hover around mid. I mean, again, we still haven't seen that one good month and all that stuff, but I thought it was interesting comments from Sam Kennedy to pretty much blame the players, Cora to defend his players, but at the same time to poke a little realistic approach in there of like listen, it is what we are. The other thing that they did talk about in this article is Cora's future with the Red Sox. He pretty much said that he wasn't going to comment on that. They're not going to talk in season, all this stuff. Whatever happens after this, he knows his future's ahead of him. He doesn't plan on managing forever, yada, yada, yada. And his big main focus is to not be selfish with this decision, because he's got him and his wife and his family to think about, and that's a decision that's going to come first. So I don't know. We'll see. However, if you're Alex Cora, though, and like say you get like a 3-4 year contract extension, because obviously Craig Counsell, what he did leaving the Brewers, going to the Cubs, signing a 8-year, $40 million deal, I think, or something like that, or vice versa, 5-year, $40 million deal, whatever it may have been. And you see that there's that kind of money out there. I wonder if that's where the selfish comments come in. Like, I'm not going to be selfish and say with the Red Sox is I love this organization, played here, won here, things like that, and take a lesser salary to be here when I could make more money. But if you're Alex Cora, you get a 3-4 year extension offer, you got to kind of really ponder that. And I know that's an obvious thing to say, but like, you got to look at the future of this team. Like, the foundation is here to be really, really good and really competitive in AL East with the Yankees and the Orioles over the next, decade plus, with what's coming up through the pipeline and seeing what Craig does at the draft and stuff like that. Maybe being able to spend some money. Like, I feel like it's got to be really tough to walk away from everything that you put in here and what the future holds.
I don't think this whole relying on our farm system approach works without Alex Cora leading the ship in that dugout, in that clubhouse. There is not one better individual that I can think of. Damn right. There's not one better individual to lead a ball club that is young and scrappy and has something to prove better than Alex Cora. Not only that, but these guys can be plug and played in multiple different positions. And we just talked about this with the current Red Sox team and how good Alex Cora has been doing positionally with them in maximizing our production. Imagine what he does with a bunch of top prospects once they're MLB ready. I can't see that with Jason Varitek taking the coaching job. I can't necessarily see that with Andrew Bailey, mainly because we haven't seen them in a head coaching role at the major league level. But Alex Cora, man, there's no one better that's doing it across the major leagues. And Craig Counsell, dude, like, you thought he got the bag as a manager. Wait until what Cora gets at the end of this year. If he wants to be selfish, he most certainly has a right to be. And he would probably break the bank or break a record for some sort of coaching salary payment right there for Major League Baseball. And it would be very well deserved. He did say he wasn't going to be selfish, though. So I do see him doing some sort of laddered sort of salary year-by-year thing with the Red Sox that is like bonus-based. Or it's like a back-ended financed contract where they're going to be paying him a little on the down low for the next year or two after this year. So for the first 2 years, it's what he's making now. And then the last two, up the wazoo when they project that this team is going to absolutely peak. Meyer, Anthony's Anthony, Teal is Teal, Casas is still here, Rafael Devers is in the back half of his contract. Rafael is playing unbelievable platinum glove defense in center field. We got Houck and Bayo leading our starting rotation. That right there is the approach that I could see the Red Sox taking and what I could see Alex Cora doing. If they don't do that, then I think that this is just your regular average sort of approach that the Royals, the Tigers, the Reds, those sort of team, even the Giants have had with their minor league system and their prospects in the farm system. I think it's just your average call-up guys, and you'll luck out 1 out of the 4, 1 out of the 8, but it's not going to be what everybody is expecting. And you got to give a lot of props to Alex Cora for that projection when nobody will. But you have so much comfortability with all of our top prospects because of who is leading them and showing them the way once they get up to the brightest stage possible.
And I think on a flip side to that too, like the Orioles got incredibly lucky with, I shouldn't say lucky, but there's a lot of luck that plays into it with all their number 1 draft picks, like essentially panning out into absolute studs. I can't remember a time in Major League history where Colton Cowser is going to become a regular. Heston Kjerstad, Kobe Mayo, Jackson Holiday, Felix Bautista. Granted, I know he's a little bit older, but like these young guys that got called up to be absolute studs. Where
the only time I can remember this is the Houston Astros in the same exact way. All those top draft picks piling up after 4 or 5 years, and then bang, the wave crashes.
That's actually a really good point. The Houston Astros are definitely that team. And then, but even before that, can't recall. And to me, though, it's like they have Brandon Hyde as their manager, and I can't imagine that he is Alex Cora. You know what I mean? Like he's going to build that foundation for him. So let me ask you this then: do you think they offer him a huge contract? Because I'm assuming that obviously goes against the CBT threshold, and so, like, if they offer him, say, an 8-year, $40 million contract or vice versa, like whatever Craig Counsell got or maybe a little bit more, like, do you think that is money well spent when there's probably other areas that we could spend that money on to help improve this offense? Or do you think that leader at the helm means that much to the Red Sox right now?
Right now, it means a ton. If we were like the Braves or we were the Dodgers, it wouldn't mean shit. That's why you see Dave Roberts coaching the Dodgers, because whatever he's doing doesn't fucking matter. Their whole entire lineup and the majority of their pitching staff is gross. Whoever he puts in, it don't matter. They're going to do the job and make the goddamn play. For Christ's sake, you have Mookie Betts, who played right field 2 years ago, played second base half the time last year, and now he's at shortstop. What's he going to do next? Fucking start and pitch and catch at the same time? Like, Dave Roberts doesn't have to do anything. Max Muncy can play any position. He just has to pick out of the hat. Oh, Max Muncy's playing third base today. Fantastic. Next. Oh, whoop, you're at short again. Fantastic. Shohei, yeah, we'll keep you at DH, and so on and so forth. Alex Cora has to be tactical every single night post-game, thinking about the next day. He has to break down strategically all of the numbers based on who they're projecting they're going to see out of the bullpen and that starting pitcher for the next year to see how we can maximize run production while also not absolutely destroying our defensive production. It is such a tricky game that this man has to play. If it was anybody else, like, what's his name, Hyde over there in Baltimore, if you flip roles here and Hyde's in Boston, Cora's in frickin' Baltimore has probably lost 10 games all year, and the Red Sox are like a 35 to 40% win percentage team. A lot of these games have been won by decisions Alex Cora has made, whether it's a late game bullpen guy or it was a pinch hit opportunity or a late game sub with like a Romy Gonzalez there for a walk-off base hit, for an example right there, just for one. Not many other managers are doing that or dropping their nuts on the table there in those sort of moments that continuously and impacting a game in that sort of fashion. We've given a lot of props to Andrew Bailey throughout the year for like how well he's done, but you also got to give it to Alex Cora because, man, this team is mid at best. At best, dude. And Cora has made them exactly what they are at their best, which is mid. Anybody else here, scary times in Boston. You have to prioritize that contract, man. Especially with how many young guys we got coming up in the next year or two. Cora is that missing piece. He is the most valuable person in the organization.
So to that, my offer here is a Shohei Tani-esque contract where you give him like a 10-year deal or something like that, and 50, 60, 80, $100 million, however much you want to give this fucking guy. But then you prorate the contract or defer the contract, so he's only making $1 million a year, and then you just back pay him over the course of like 20 years or something like that, and boom, he's set for life. He doesn't have to worry. It's not a selfish decision. You're with the Red Sox. It's like Jerry Buss signing Magic Johnson to a 20-year, $20 million contract. Like, just do it. Sign him for life. I'm here for it. Because if
he bleeds this city, he bleeds the Red Sox, and you need that in a manager here in the city.
I generally might cry if he doesn't resign, even if he's not in some role with the Red Sox. Obviously, I love him as a head coach, but even if he's in the front office, I know that Cora's probably a guy that would walk right up to John Henry and be like, fuck no, this is not how we do this. We are going to go get this guy, and this guy, and you're going to do it.
I could see that too if he's in the front offices, but I don't think that is necessary yet. We still need him in the dugout every day and in that clubhouse.
I would say for the next 3 to 4 years, minimal, we would probably need him in there before if he were to make that move. Because honestly, like, I wonder if he's that competitive a guy where if he went to another team, like say he replaced Dave Roberts as the Dodgers manager, right? Like, you don't really have to coach there. You just have fucking stars that go out and play, to your point. And so it's like, how much are you really coaching? Like, I wonder if he loves the challenge of being in a place like a Boston where he can sit there and, all right, let's develop these guys, show them what I can do to help develop them, get them to where they need to be. Like, and I think he has fun with that aspect of it.
No doubt, but he also wants ownership to provide opportunity and better players if they're showing positivity on the field with what they currently have. And the Red Sox don't do that. He does look like he wants a challenge, no doubt. Like, and he's a very good IQ'd manager that, like, if you put him in LA, it doesn't do much because he doesn't have to do anything. His even porridge right here is the Red Sox. You have a team that is operating with a bunch of young guys right now, but it's a big market team that can spend a ton of money. You give him 3 studs in an offensive lineup and then give the other 6 like what the Red Sox have right now between like a Tristan Casas, Willie Abreu, Aaron Duran, and like a David Hamilton, switch those tiers up. That is what he wants, and that's what he would thrive in. Like, if you think about that 04 team, that Terry had. That group, you had a couple of studs. You had David Ortiz, you had Manny Ramirez, you can consider Johnny Damon a freaking stud too on the offensive side. Those were your 3 studs. Yeah, the rest were pretty much quote-unquote role guys outside of Veritek, Like, those 3 studs, if you have 3 studs as an IQ'd manager like Terry Francona or an Alex Cora, that's all you need because of how good they do with the development and in the clubhouse mentally.
I'm going to start an OnlyFans, I think, to start making money to sign Cora and, like, go get a stud like Juan Soto in the offseason.
That's a good idea. Call Tyler Milliken, and he can put his freaking nipples up there, too, for some cashola.
I'll put him right up there with him. I'll do some feet stuff. I don't care what I got to do to make the Bucks go get Cora here long term. I mean, to your point, yeah, I'm with you. I would make him a priority to stay here, stay home, and then go fill up the roster.
All right. OnlyFans for Cora. Lock it in.
Hashtag OnlyFans for Cora. Not to be confused with Cora's OnlyFans.
Yeah, that's on the download. Don't give that away. Don't.
My bad.
Come on, ditch.
Try to cut that out.
I got you.
All right, let's jump into the series here. This isn't even necessarily a note that I have on my notes, but Game 1, Game 57 of the year, and we're honoring the 2024 Hall of Fame class for the Boston Red Sox. Pedroia gets in, which is awesome. Trot Nixon gets in, and Papelbon gets in. Awesome. They're actually what kind of made the broadcast, and I have some notes on that. But as the ceremony goes on, Craig Breslow's out there, and it's zoomed in on Craig Breslow's face. And this motherfucker has a Band-Aid the size of his entire nose over his nose. What the hell happened to Breslow's nose?
I think he was a little pissed off at John Henry, Sam Kennedy a little bit. Sam Kennedy with his WEEI statements. I don't think Craig approved of those very much. And on John Henry's side, I don't think he's approving of the roster construction this year that he allowed Craig to go about. And Craig had enough. Walked into the office, looked at those two schmucks, spit right on the desk, and said, "Listen, motherfuckers, if you don't give me some players by the trade deadline, it's going to be a world of hurt, and you're not going to like what happens here." And all that happened was John Henry and Sam Kennedy just fucking sucker punched him right in the nose. He starts bleeding, smiles at the sight of the blood like the frickin' Joker, says, "It's going to take a lot more than that to stop me, baby. Give me my players by the trade deadline." And then just walks out of the room. Goes down for the little pregame celebration for Pedroia and the boys and acts like nothing's happened with a shit-eating grin on his face the whole entire time.
I love it. And honestly, it takes a lot of confidence to walk out there with a Band-Aid on your nose as big as it was, because I could picture Cora going in the office the next day to go talk to John Henry, and there's blood all over the rug. And he's just like, "What the hell happened in here?" And John Henry's just all pissy, like, "Mind your own business. Don't worry.
It's going to happen to you if you open your mouth next, Cora.
Yeah.
Stay in line.
I'm going to open hand smack you." I can't picture John Henry throwing a good punch.
No, it's a hissy slap.
Yep. If anything, like Sam Kennedy is probably the one that sits there and is like, comes out of nowhere. It had to be a sucker punch.
Without a doubt, because Craig can take a punch and give punches. And if Craig had an opportunity to throw one, you best bet there would have been 2 body bags in the top penthouse of Fenway Park that night.
Amen. But all right, game 1, game 57 of the year. First note, let's go Red Sox. Nothing's happened, but I'm just rooting for the best right
Red
here.
Sox!
Next note, Nesson 360 still blacking out. Missed 2/3 of the bottom of the second inning.
Woo! Nesson 360, you suck. Woo! Let's go.
Akil Baddoo solo home run, 1-0. By the way, I forgot to mention Nick Pivetta is facing Jack Flaherty here. So Nick Pivetta makes it 1-0. Next note, Pivetta pitching his balls off. Offense is scratching their balls off. Like, Pivetta, he goes 5.1 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 runs, 9 Ks, 2 walks. Like, pitched his nuts off, battled in and out, did some crazy stuff. Now, I shouldn't even say crazy stuff, just did Nick Pivetta angry-ass stuff and just pitched. And the fucking offense said, "Yeah, we're going to take the night."
Yeah, and that they did. That they sure did. They wasted another Nick Pivetta dominant start. Reminded me of that Seattle Mariners opening season series on the road.
I can see that comparison right there, because, again, pitches balls off, and then offense was like, and bullpen decided to blow it, which kind of happens in this game. I don't have a lot of notes on this game because, as you know, Jack Flaherty decided that he was going to pitch at Cy Young level pitching here, and Flaherty ends up going 6.2 innings pitched, allows 1 hit, which was by Rob, and I comment, "Thanks, Rob. At least it wasn't perfect." Bottom of the 7th, finally a base runner.
Thank Christ. I'm shocked this hasn't happened more often with the way our offense is, that we've been no-hit through like 6 1/3 or something crazy like that more often.
I am too, like, generally, and don't get me wrong, Jack Flaherty is not like a budding ace or anything like that, because obviously he was really good with St. Louis and then had a terrible turn of injuries for a few years.
Yeah.
Went to the Orioles in a trade deadline acquisition last year and pitched mediocre, wasn't that great. And then goes to the Tigers this year. And I know the overlying like stats don't look great. I mean, he's got, I think, like 80-something punch-outs in 60-something innings. Like, it's gross what he does have. But his underlying metrics, between like a ton of bad luck, his defense not helping him out and whatnot, and it's a lot like a lot of the Red Sox starters have led to like a ballooned ERA and a few of those things. But like, he pitched really fucking well this game. It was great to watch a pitching duel, and this brings me back to a point I made a few podcasts ago, where I am tired of seeing pitching duels where our offense, though, like, it's not like they're just out pitching us. It's that our offense just sucks some nights and wants to do nothing. And I'm tired of seeing our team match another pitcher and us lose 2-0, 1-0, or 2-1, something like that. Like, it's just infuriating.
Yeah, I'm sick of it too, man. That's what's got to change here.
Next note, we really need to limit expectations. And I know we had been talking about this, but they really are just a mid team. I know we're hoping for a run. We can pray for it. We're Sox fans. We want you guys to pray for a run as listeners, but like, got to limit expectations. Against good pitching, good things may not happen for us.
Yes, indeed.
Riley Green 2-run homer, 4-0, top of the 8th. Then Gio Urshela homer, 5-0. Must this go on? And then they bring in, that was off Chris Martin, by the way. So Chris Martin goes 1 innings pitch, 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 Ks, no walks, 2 home runs, and it brings his ERA to 4.22 on the year. Now, I know that's not great, and Chris Martin had a rough start to the year, or not even rough, kind of rough start, and then he really kind of figured it out for a while there, and then had a blunder this game. I just want to say I'm not worried about our Silver Fox, Chris Martin, because I think it's age right now. He's 37, 38 years old. You can't expect to pitch at an elite level all season long, so you're going to see a blunder like this every here and there.
No doubt, but he goes on his hot streaks, and normally these bad outings are singular. It only is one bad outing, and then he gets right back on the horse.
Yep, exactly. And honestly, I think that's a good reliever mentality, and I'm sure you know this, but like, just forget about what happened the night before, go out and do your job the next day.
Have to. Short memory.
Chase Anderson is bad when Middlebrook says, it's never good when he's warming up. Like, literally, I feel like on the broadcast to hear Will Middlebrooks call out a player and say, you never know what's good when he's warming up.
Well, I think it's more like not like shitting on Chase Anderson, more like, Cora's waving the white flag again. Chase is warming up. We're done. This game's over. Pack it in. See you tomorrow. I think it's more that.
It is. I agree with you. I think it's 100% more that. But no matter what, that is still kind of a dig at whether it's subtle or not subtle, whatever the word is I'm looking for. Like Chase Anderson's your white flag.
With Brad Keller coming on board here, if he can get figured out a little bit in Bailey's laboratory, you got to expect Chase Anderson's the next individual here on this 40-man to get DFA'd, would you not?
No, I actually think Brad Keller would be first. I think they're just going to milk every freaking bad mop-up inning they can out of Brad Keller. They don't care if he goes 70 pitches in 2 innings, because I actually think they value Chase Anderson, because Chase has gone, he's got a 4 ERA right now in a long relief role. Like, to be honest with you, there's not much more I can ask for out of Chase Anderson. Like, he doesn't miss bats. He gets the ball put into play. Like, obviously you want somebody better there. I'm not saying it's perfect or anything like that, but like, he's doing what is expected. And that's like, he's not outperforming his metrics. He's not underperforming. He's doing what he's expected. So I could see a version if Brad Keller clicks a little bit, DFAing Chase Anderson, but like, I'd rather DFA Brad Keller at this point and keep Chase Anderson.
I'm with you right now on that take. We'll see. You're right. Chase Anderson has been doing that role on a average spectrum there that we need him to. I mean, it's not like he's going in high leverage situations. We're down by 4 by the time he gets in.
Exactly. Either we're down by 4, up by 17. Like, and whatever happens at that point.
Exactly.
So question for you as a pitcher, I'm curious. Mentally, and this came right after the Will Middlebrooks comment, mentally, if you're a pitcher and know your job is mop-up duty, that's got to be tough, I feel like, because you heard Cooper Criswell at the beginning of the year, like, whatever role they want me in, I'm out there to dominate it. Start, relief, mop up, close, whatever the heck they need. But like Chase Anderson, when he's warming up, is generally the human white flag when we're down by 4+ runs in the 6th inning or later or something like that. So he's the human white flag. If you're a pitcher, like, is your mentality like, I'm the baddest motherfucker on the planet, I'm going to go out there and fucking, I'm going to mow this lineup down for 4 fucking innings? Or are you just kind of like, all right, I'm going to go try to keep them in check, I guess. Give the bullpen a day off.
If I'm at the age of Chase Anderson, I'm thinking what you just said, the second one. If I'm a younger guy that's unproven, that is trying to make a buck, that's on my still minimum minor league contract, I would probably go about it with more of the first approach and try and prove myself Chase Anderson, I think, sees the writing on the wall. He's at the back end of his career. He's just trying to produce and be a veteran presence in a clubhouse and go about his day-to-day the right way, provide advice to the younger guys on staff, and at rare occasion, go in when the white flag is waved and minimize damage, and provide some glimmer of hope for the offense in case they decide to come back in a game with down more than 4 runs.
I think that's actually an incredibly good take right there of just, yes, like younger pitcher, minor league contract, answer A. Chase Anderson, answer B. Like, I know what my role is. However, I wonder if maybe, or at least this should be the mentality is like, okay, my job here is to make sure I don't give up 10 runs and to go out and do my best to try to give the bullpen a break because, you know, I'm part of this pitching staff and I'm going to do my job when I go out there so that these guys don't have to come clean up after me. My job is to clean up after
That's huge.
This mess.
Because what he's doing is he's saving 2, 3, sometimes if he goes 4 innings, sometimes 4 other relief options. He's saving them for the rest of the series or the next series that the Red Sox have ahead of them. It's invaluable, and it's like he's falling on the sword almost every time he goes out there. It's like he's dying for us. And it's kind of like a Robin Hood of the pitching staff.
I like that. The Robin Hood of the pitching staff. I like that. You know what? I'm all for it because Robin Hood wore tights and really tight pants, and Chase Anderson wears them really tight pants. Just saying. I'm seeing that correlation now.
There's Robin Hood. Robin Hood Anderson.
Next note. There's a reason Valdez was sent to AAA, and I'm pretty sure if my mind stands corrected on this moment,
error.
There was a pop-up and just completely dropped it. And again, people sit there and they're done with the Von Grissom experiment. They want Von sent down, bring up somebody else, blah, blah, blah. This was our other option. And Manuel Valdez, who is dropping pop-ups and just not making plays. And it's like what Von Grissom, I understand he had a 300 OPS and wasn't batting that great. But again, it's like this was our better option. I would rather, at least if you're not going to hit, play good defense.
Yeah, I would too. Red Sox fans, you happy now? Yeah. Are you?
They're probably going to make us eat our words a little bit here. So we'll see, not to jump ahead. But I would rather eat my words. I will say that. Last note, you can just tell OB and Middlebrooks aren't into it. Like the most excited that they were during the broadcast was when like Pedroia was in the game or was in the booth. Trott was in the booth. Pap was in the booth. And they're like, Pap, you still look like you can go out there and throw 95. And he's like, hell no, I can't. But Pap's a funny fucker, by the way. During the broadcast, he sat there and he's like, yeah, all right, boys, I'll see you later. I'm going to go get myself a beer. And I was just like,
yeah, no, he has no filter, dude.
None. I love Pap. Like, he's the type of guy I would love to have in a presence in the dugout, and not even as like a coach, but like either a fire me up guy, create a role as a guy that is just going to sit there and fucking headbutt you before you go in there and tell you to fucking, do whatever, right? Like Pap just sitting there just screaming for you as you're walking.
He would make the perfect athletic trainer for a college Power 5 football team. Those jacked up dudes with the kids medium polo on, and he's just
tucked in
without a helmet on, headbutting his players. Just let's go. That is Jonathan Papelbon for the Boston Red Sox if he's lucky enough to get a job in that clubhouse. Oh, could you see it right now? Every single time before at bats, he's just like, come on, hit me. And they just full blown headbutt him with their helmets on, and he's just bleeding from the skull, just laughing and having a great time. Perfect role for him.
It really is. And like athletic trainer-esque, maybe you call him a mental skills coach, whatever it may be, so that he can go in there.
Sure.
You think you fucking suck today? Well, guess what? You did fucking suck, but tomorrow you're not gonna. And like, just go out there and
your tough love mental coach, Jonathan Papelbon, ladies and gentlemen.
Tough love mental coach, the TLMC.
Perfect role for the Papmeister
really
flex.
The other note, I didn't have this written down, but I did text this to you. Dustin Pedroia is a fucking savage. All right, so he's in the booth and he's like, "Yeah, man, it was fun playing out there, playing with these guys like animals. And OB's like, so you got your 10-year-old team here, I see, and they're called the Dirt Dogs. And he's like, yep, man, my 10U team's here, and we got to work out at Fenway tomorrow at 11. We're gonna work the boys pretty hard. And honestly, like we play from January to June. We're in tournaments all during that point, and it's just fun at this age because like you see them on this diamond, and then you get to see them kind of grow into that next step on the diamond. And honestly, like I push these boys hard, and like it's the exact opposite approach of like I feel like 10U baseball, where it's like, all right, let's have fun. Like if there's one old school mentality kind of coach I'd want coaching my 10U kid, it's fucking Dustin Pedroia. Like teaching them how to play the game the right way, teaching them how to win, how to be a dirt dog, and I'm all for that. Go push 10-year-olds as hard as you want, Pedroia.
We need some game changer footage of this 10U Dustin Pedroia Dirt Dogs team to see the model of efficiency and how fast paced and electric this group is. Could you imagine this team going up against a 10U team from New England?
I'm picturing like him sitting there, right? Like pregame workouts and stuff like that. Like while one 10U team sitting there eating chips, getting Gatorades from their moms, cooking hot dogs, the parents are all drinking beers, and like the coach is scratching his freaking belly trying to decide what lineup card he's going to write out on a white lined notebook and stuff like that. And he's like, oh shit, I only got 10 guys. This kid's over here crying. We got number 12, who's this guy's sister, and she's my best player, to be honest with you, but she already threw 120 pitches last game. What the hell am I going to do? While Dustin Pedroia in between games is sitting there, you got infielders doing short work. You got outfielders doing outfield drills. You got catchers working on receiving the ball. You got pitchers throwing bullpens and everything like that. You got BP happening in the background.
When they're at the hotel pregame before they go to the field, they're that 17U AAU team you saw the video of going all through social media of them dropping down their coach bus, and it's just this whole entire like portable Transformers gym, and these 10-year-olds are freaking max PR deadlifting and squatting before the game, and Pedroia's alarm goes off on his Apple Watch. He's like, oh, it's game time, fellas, pack the ship, let's go. And they go in their submarine, and they roll to that freaking 10U Little Diamond Field, and they go, and they win 25-0 in 3 innings.
I was just going to say in 3 innings. Like, I could picture like a kid diving for a ball at second, or not diving for a ball at second base that he should have gave 110% effort to, and PD just sitting there calling time, walking out to the mound. Kid fucking goes right to the bench, and he puts in another kid. Like, out of complete respect, though. Like, hey, you don't want to fucking dive for a ball? I'm going to go put a kid in who can.
No yelling. No yelling from Pedroia. He just gives the look, and the kid just knows and walks off the field.
Yep. I guarantee you it's probably the best 10U team in the country.
Not only the best, but the most disciplined and best IQ'd 10U team in the country.
I guarantee. I would love to see the names on that roster. I guarantee we see at least 8 of them in professional baseball in 10 years.
We'll look it up on Game Changer for you, buddy. I'll pull it for next pod.
Amen. All right, game 2 here. So also keep in mind, Red Sox lost. They dropped to 29-29. Weird.
Oof. Wow, shocker.
Or I'm sorry. Was it 29-29?
28-29.
28-29. My bad. I was like looking at the rundown here like, whoa.
Game 2 was the Apple Pod game. That was the Apple TV game. That was the Friday night game that they decided for whatever reason to put this marquee matchup of Tanner Houck and whoever the fuck Casey, who threw for the frickin' Tigers game 2. God damn,
Kenta Maeda.
Yeah, why would you put that on the Friday night Apple TV matchup? I have no idea.
Because
but whatever.
Tanner Houck was on the mound. That's why, motherfucker.
Yeah, you're right. That's true. You're right.
I will say this. So I have one note in here, but I'll just jump to it right now. Where I said, to be honest, I don't mind the Apple TV broadcast. Like, it's kind of a breath of fresh air. And to me, the broadcast also looked different. Obviously, it's going to look different than Nesson with like how their screens are portrayed. They're portrayed like Apple products, kind of, and stuff like that overlay and whatnot. But like, I love how they put like strikeout probability, hit probability here, RBI probability. They really break down some stuff. They talk about like the defensive run saves.
What it reminded me of was watching a football game on Amazon. You know how they did their Thursday night football games, I believe, on Amazon. And they had that Amazon AWS feature where you can watch the game with the probability stats involved and the lines following the players. predicting which players on defense are going to blitz and whatnot. It kind of reminded me of a simplistic version of that with this Apple TV broadcast, but for baseball.
I could see that 100%. And honestly, it looked great too. Like it was like a crisper image. Like it didn't seem like the lights were shining down at any point like too bright or anything like that. Like it kind of had like I could see the colors beautifully on the jerseys, like the green of the grass, the red of the jersey. It's
like
really
Apple
good.
came up with something better than 4K HD.
Yeah, which wouldn't shock me. I mean, they've been shocking the technology world for 20 plus years now. Actually, no,
and you
more
know
like
what?
30 years. But.
The streaming didn't cut once. We didn't listen to
Nope.
30 minutes of commercials when the game was actively playing. It was just really a smooth operation on the back end.
A fucking men, and I might have that in my notes somewhere where it's like, this is amazing. Not a single buffer, not a BS commercial that loops for 30 minutes, no technical difficulties. Like, it was crisp and clean. And honestly, too, so Dan Plesac was on that broadcast, and he used to be on MLB TV all the time and like religiously. As a kid, when that first came out, me and my father would just watch. I would watch it every morning, every night. I'd watch the rundown every morning, and they would just put the rundown on from like 9 to 11 of just recapping the games, and I watched it twice through. And then like Dan Plesac would be on the show, and granted, I always hated Dan Plesac's hair because he dyed it black, and like it just looked like it was dyed
jet black just for men.
Yeah, like you're trying to hide something right now, and combed over the side. But like he always offered a really good perspective into the game, and honestly, throughout this broadcast, he did too. Because like there was certain at bats in game 2 where like, and I don't have this written down, but like he would sit there and be like, you know, if I'm a pitcher here, I'm going to throw something soft, low and away, try to get this guy to swing. You can tell his swing's been on this, and the pitcher would do that. And or he's like, if I'm a hitter, I'm thinking this approach right here, and it would happen. And I'm like, wow, you're way smarter than I thought you were when I was 12 to 15 years old.
He has really good insight, that is for sure. Thank God they don't really put the camera on him for that long with the hairdo and the whole getup going on, and we just listen to his voice and his insight. But what you said about like the strikeout probability, like percentage chance, or like RBI percentage chance, that stuff I loved. That was fantastic. That's like us having like StatHead AI on our screen overlaid for the baseball game, because that comes up into our heads all the time, and we're texting back and forth about that stuff. Like, hey, I wonder what the percentage chance of us like getting this RBI and runners in scoring position less than 2 outs is right now. And those answers were just automatically given to us right there without even having to lift a finger or search something up. It was really refreshing, man. And I wish that Nesson, because they own their own rights and call their own shots over there, would implement stuff like that, but they won't.
I agree. I actually I was just going to say right to that point is that like, I really wish like Nesson would either buy out Apple or Apple would buy out Nesson, and we would just get that broadcast with OB and whoever in the background there, because it was awesome. I really actually enjoyed it. I think a lot of people shit on it because they don't have Apple TV, or, you know, it's not their usual home broadcast, whatever it may be. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a breath of fresh air for me.
I'd almost be inclined to watch every Friday night because of how the quality was and how the broadcast was. Not just when the Red Sox are playing on it, but I'd give it probably another bid this Friday if the Red Sox are getting their shit pushed in or having a day off.
This is where like I have extra TVs where like I need to get some way, somehow multiple TVs set up so I can watch multiple games at once. Because I would love to every Friday watch the Sox and have that.
It's tricky to set up stuff like that. I got to figure out a way to do that as well. I only have like a 2 TV system where I can put like a primary game I want on, and then the top TV I'll put on MLB Big Inning on MLB TV. So I'll have like already a pre-scripted 4-game mashup or 8-game mashup right there on the top screen, and then the primary screen on the bottom's like the Red Sox or the Dodgers game or the Padres game if it's West Coast time over here in Boston.
I mean, goals, shout out Jared Carabas, is what he has set up, where he has 9 TVs.
Oh, it's majestic.
He's got the theater seating and stuff like that. Like,
guy's got to take a leak or a number 2. He goes in the bathroom and there's a goddamn TV right there. Doesn't miss a second of the action.
Doesn't miss it. And honestly, I'd be divorced if that happened. And I was that fortunate enough, I would definitely be divorced.
Yeah, especially with it in the bathroom. Yeah. They tell us to relax.
I'm already in there for 30 minutes. Like, I'd be in there for an hour and a half at that.
Easily.
All right, so Game 2, Apple broadcast. Game 58 of the year, we have Tanner Houck on the mound opposing Kenta Maeda of the Detroit Tigers. First note, feeling confident because our ace and the Cy Young of the AL is on the mound. Then I said,
Tanner.
1-0 Detroit Tigers, and then never fucking mind Abreu with a cannon to gun out Riley Green. So, like, in this moment, the single was hit, Riley Green was on second, and I was typing out 1-0, and then I saw this bullet of a throw, and he throws out Riley Green. Next note, 1-0, call overturned.
That was 107 miles an hour, that throw from Wilyer Abreu from right field straight through to home plate to tag Riley Green out. 100.7.
Have you seen the video on the internet going around of I think it was Japanese player who was in right field and the ball got hit to him and he freaking, like, I've never seen a throw like this outside of maybe Yoenis Cespedes when he threw out Albert Pujols at third base. Like, this was an absolute seed. Like, I would love to see a side-by-side video of Wilyer Abreu's throw and this guy's throw from the outfield, because, like, 107 from the outfield, like, that is fucking, oh my God. I can't even put words to it. Muted.
Put this man in Bailey's laboratory right now.
Let's not screw him up. You know what? No, I'm all for it. Make him the next Shohei, but a relief pitcher maybe.
That is our closer of the future right there. Blowing triple digits after going 3 for 4 at the plate, playing a great right field before.
Yep.
Wilyer motherfucking Abreu. But yeah, game 2. Nothing.
It was 1-0 at this because the call got overturned.
Shit, 1-0.
It was a Veerling single from right. Riley Green scores. My next comment, this game should be 9-2 by the end of it. Kenta Maeda stinks.
Yet, we made him look really good in this game with the amount of swing and miss he had on the table.
In fairness, so this is actually one of the things that you just jogged the memory here. Dan Plesac kept talking about his splitter and how that being his go-to pitch, and boy, were we chasing that bad boy. We were hitting everything else and finally made adjustments on being patient for certain pitches, but that splitter was filthy that day. Relied heavily.
It blended very, very well with his fastball low in the zone, man. That thing was gross, just falling right off the table every single time. I don't think we got a base hit off of it.
I don't think so either now that you say it. Next note, to be honest, don't mind the Apple TV broadcast. It's different. Already said it. Connor Wong, king of 2-out hitting. It's absurd. Like, this man, again, we need prerequisites before hitters come to bat. And I don't care if there's no outs and Connor Wong's leading off. I want there to be 2 outs and have him hit, because you just know it's going to be a hit. I know that's absurd thinking,
automatic.
But you know you're going to get an automatic hit. Apple broadcast said Little Raffy was leading the league in RBIs for the AL, and I was like, I kind of believed it for a quick second, because I was like, I mean, he is like our RBI king and stuff like that. And then I forgot that there's players like Juan Soto, Gunnar Henderson, Aaron Judge out there who
they quickly corrected themselves, leading AL rookies.
Exactly. Literally the next note, immediately corrected himself and among AL rookies.
There you go, baby.
So I'm curious how you feel about this, because this is one of my next notes. Little Raffy reminds me a lot of Bayo when he pitches, and he's very emotional. So, like, he'll strike out on a pitch that he doesn't believe he should strike out on, and you see the anger, the frustration in his eyes, knowing that he should have done it.
Very good comp.
The only difference, though, is it's like in a different way, because, like, he gets pissed when he doesn't catch a fly ball that was a ridiculous fucking catch.
Lil Raffy looks like it's anger.
Yeah.
I'm pissed off. Bayo looks like it's a crybaby that, like, the bully that he poked at and, like, was antagonizing ended up beating him up for his lunch money. He's like, oh, mommy. That's what Bayo, I feel like, is reacting like. And Rafi's just full-blown pissed off at himself because he knows he's better.
I am so getting a ding, 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 ding sound for this, because you hit the nail on the head with that one right there. Because exactly that. One's anger, one's like kind of crybaby-ish, and boom. So, yeah,
I'll
very
take the
emotional.
Rafi approach any day. You can
100%. And honestly, too, like, not to make this a whole little Cedane Raffaello segment here, but like he's made big adjustments. Like we talk about Jared Duran's stance, but like little Rafi's lowered his hands. That's been a common theme with a lot of these hitters is lowering their hands a little bit and simplifying approach. Like he's starting to like we're seeing it be put together here. Like he's not going to be a 200 to 210 hitter for the whole year. Like if he finishes a year at like between 240 and 260, obviously I'd be happier on the latter of that, but like I wouldn't be shocked, and I would be very happy with that and 15 home runs with like 60, 65 RBIs.
I want something similar to like, which is getting into like what you just said, but like what happened with Tristan Casas. First half of the year wasn't so great, and then he continuously got better and better. From when you would look up at the month to month sample size, he got continuously better each time the year got deeper. That's what's happening with Lil Rafi right now when you look at the month by month splits early on in this season. I fully expect that to continue. This man is a competitor. He wants to be great. It is clear, especially after he makes errors, it is clear this man is going to end up being one of the best homegrown Red Sox outfielders in recent memory. I'm thinking like since Yes, I'm thinking outside of Mookie Betts, like a Jacoby Ellsbury sort of like since Jacoby. Mookie was brought up as a second baseman initially, so like he's a super util guy. You know, I know Rafi plays shortstop a little bit, but he's going to stick to center field and outfield. That's not a long-term thing. Mookie always was a second baseman until he got into the farm system. So Don Rafaela will be hopefully what we see on defense right now is that gold glove potential, platinum glove potential guy as he gets older. The bad is what we're talking about right now, though. And at the beginning of the year, he was for a long time below that 185, 190 batting average mark. And about 3-4 weeks ago, I kind of want to pencil it and like mark it down as like when he got that unintentional ground rule double that brought in multiple RBIs. I think 2 or 3 RBIs on that one bullshit hit play. That moment I feel like exactly he has been that much more confident, that much more free at the plate, and that much more trustworthy in himself. And I only see that continuing. As long as he's not swinging at bad pitches outside of the strike zone and count leverage situations for himself like he was doing at the beginning of the year, which I don't see him doing that often these days, it's only going to get better and better. It's like Willie Abreu sprinkled his swing decision magic on him a little bit in the locker room.
I can see that, and I was going to say it too, so I'm glad you did, is that like his approach, I'm not saying has gotten, mountains better or anything like that, but it has gotten better. Like there are tough pitches that I've seen him lay off. He's starting to not swing right at the first pitch immediately, starting to hunt certain pitches and whatnot. I'm starting to see an approach at the plate instead of just letting raw athleticism and quick hands try to take him as far as he can. Because at the major league level, that I think
that works in minor leagues.
Exactly.
Yeah, that works in minor leagues. It doesn't work in the majors, just banking it straight off athleticism and raw ability.
Exactly. Look at Bob. As much as I love Bob, and we don't slander him on this podcast, like raw ability does really well in AAA. At the big leagues, we can see the big difference, the glaring difference, and Manuel Valdez the same way. And so you have to have an approach at the plate, hunt certain pitches, understand probability here. And we're starting to see that out of little Rafi. And if that continues, we have a blossoming star in our hands.
Yes, indeed. I'm looking forward to the ride.
That was your next young blossoming star segment. So during the broadcast, they had a woman on the field who was interviewing both managers in between innings. And so they're talking about Willie Abreu, what he can do.
Can I give some props to both major league managers here, especially Alex Cora? Dude, this chick, did you see what she was wearing as an interviewer?
I mean, she had a black dress on.
It was not a dress. She had her freaking D's dumping out, and they're just like perked up right into Alex Cora's cheeks, and he's just like, just looking like blindly right at the microphone and like right into her eyes, like, Dude, whatever you do, do not look down right now. Do not. Same thing with the other manager for the Tigers.
AJ Hinch was like a little bit taller, and now that you say it, I'm like, Hinch was looking a lot away as he was answering questions. And
He had a perfect bird's eye view of the knockers that she was presenting out in full force Friday night. Good Lord.
this also shows the difference, I think, between a nerd, if you will, and and just a man. I don't know how to describe this, but like I was so intently listening to what the managers were saying while you're out here staring at some boobies.
I just noticed it, and I saw like Alex Cora just like not really making necessary eye contact. Same with Hinchy. I'm like, dude, these guys are worried about staring at the knockers on live fucking TV right now.
Like I'm gonna be honest with you, I may have to go like see if I can find that game again and fast forward to it because I literally I know she was wearing some black. I feel like, and that was the only thing I noticed about that.
It was she was presenting the goods a little bit. She had an ulterior motive that night. I had a feeling.
Anywho, I can't believe I missed that. I'm over here listening word for word, hanging on what Cora and Hinch are saying, and there's just some
this bitch's tits are out. That's all I'm thinking. All time. Meeting of the minds here on SoxHub podcast tonight.
It really is. My God, that's awesome. However, very poetic, especially considering the Red Sox celebration, which is about grabbing boobies. So I appreciate it. Maybe that's why she did it.
She's just a man of the people, a woman of the people. Excuse me, for the Boston Red Sox, giving them a little extra motivation.
She can do whatever she wants.
Yeah, she sure can. God bless her.
So, anyways, what I was intently focused on was what the managers were saying. So they're interviewing Cora, and they're talking about Willie Abreu, and Cora calls him Big Willie, and I loved every second of that. I know it's simple. It's not creative. It's no ice horse or some random freaking nickname for no reason, but Big Willie. And I text you, I go, that's it. From now on, he's Big Willie the Moose. Like, that's what this fucker is. The Big Willie the Moose. He
is a moose. The Moose. So we have two nicknames after today. We got Willie the Moose Abreu, and we got Chase, what was it, Anderson? Chase Robin Hood Anderson. Thank you very much, Mac. I didn't need that for you. So we got Robin Hood, and we got the freaking Moose.
It's sad you said Chase Anderson, and immediately I went to White Flag. Like, is that his nickname?
We can call him the White Flag as well. That would make more sense.
I like Robin Hood. It sounds better.
It's more positive.
It's more positive.
It's kinder.
Exactly.
Indeed.
And
all right. Robin Hood it is.
As we told you from episode 1, we are an optimistic podcast here. Positive.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. Riley Green, unstoppable. This dude was hitting all series long, whether it was home runs, doubles, singles. He was just unstoppable.
Guy's having a really good start to his year.
I have 2 notes on Kenta Maeda. One's now, one's a little bit further down. Kenta Maeda's eyebrows make him look fucking pissed at every moment. So, granted, there might have been a moment.
It's like an anime villain.
Yeah, like his
anime villain.
It's so and he's just like,
ho ho. Firebender from Avatar all day.
Yes.
If he was one of those 4 houses.
That's a very great way to put it, and he's absolutely... Nah, you know what? No, I could picture him being part of the Water Tribe. He's not like...
No, he just looks angry. He just looks so angry all the time.
Oh, okay.
That
okay.
just strikes me as firebending.
I take back that statement. You're 100% right. I am wrong. 100% correct. However, he just doesn't throw fire. You know, if he threw... fire, that would be all the better. All right. Dom Smith doubled down the left field line, drives in Raffy, tied 1-1. I did notice this, that little Raffy went from 4 chains to 1. I hope it helps.
The one with the star on it?
Yep. And I think we talked about how he literally like scraped himself in the Orioles game, and he was wearing like 7 different chains. And then now he was wearing 1. I don't know if Cora told him to do it or if he just subconsciously did it, but just made a quick little note there that he's wearing 1 chain now.
He's got to keep that star chain on moving forward, no matter the damage it provides to his facial features. Does not matter. It gives you good juju. It gives you good vibrations. Keep it rolling. Just tuck it in the shirt if you don't want it to smack you with its 5 pounds on it in the face and chip a tooth.
Amen. So keep in mind, excuse me, last note, Raffy's gone from 4 chains to 1. Hope it helps. Next note, LOL, little Raffy, 3-run homer to make it 4-1, bottom 4. And this ball, too, was fucking dicked.
Confirmed it helped. The chain, that is.
So, to draw up a little backstory here, Houck's pitching, and I think it was Vierling, some righty, maybe Javi. I forgot who was up. Anyways, Houck's pitching, liner right back up the middle. He turns and it drills him right on the forearm, right? 100.7 off the bat. This motherfucker, next note, very calm, cool glove flip by Houck after getting hit by a pitch to get the runner out at first. That is the body language of an AL Cy Young. Like, again, 100.7 off the forearm. I don't know why I just said forearm, but off the forearm. Picks up the ball, runs over to first base, nice gentle glove flip like nothing ever happened. That was bad. Like, that right there is fuck you badass shit.
Scared the shit out of me with a comebacker going at Tanner Houck from my PTSD from last year being at Fenway Park for the game that took him out for a large period of the season last year with that comebacker to the face against the Yankees.
Which I think everybody's mind went to for a brief moment. However, granted much different situations, not getting hit in the face, getting hit in the forearm, obviously. But
yes,
like literally just flashbacks of that, and I'm happy that nothing bad happened. But my next note was, and this was a little aggressive, but I was just excited because of how good Houck has been pitching. Kurt Schilling's bloody sock, Tanner Houck's red arm after it was 105 liner off this thing. No difference whatsoever. Like, and the point that I bring to that is they zoom in on his arm, and you literally on his forearm just see the biggest red welt, and he just eat it, nothing, acting like nothing's happening.
Keeps on trucking.
So next, Kenta Maeda note, and this is not a knock; it's a general question. Why is it that all Japanese pitchers are the most animated people on the mound? So, for instance, Kenta Maeda, right, doesn't make a pitch, and it's like a jump afterwards, like, ooh, son of a gun, I should have made that pitch. And, like, he lets up a ball, and, like, he jumps immediately around to, like, stare at it and stuff like that. Like, just very, very animated body language on the mound. And it flips to Shohei Ohtani, who, like, if you remember when Shohei Ohtani pitched, like, he'd be sitting there on the mound, and he'd be like, okay, yeah, let's throw that ball. And then, boom, go humming 100. Like, and Shohei was like that too. And, like, I feel like Shota's like that. Like, a lot of Asian pitchers are just the most animated people on the mound.
I think they're, in their culture, they're just wearing their emotions on their sleeves continuously, day to day, second to second. And that's what we're seeing.
I was really hoping for a better incident.
We can't get canceled here, Matt. Come on now. We're 17 episodes deep. We're running strong still, brother. How have we not gotten canceled yet? Trying to keep it going.
Keep the streak alive, baby. Let's see if we can get to episode 18.
Hey, if the Sox aren't going to go on a streak, we got to go on a streak of something here.
Somebody's got to. All right, so then to move on, Rob Refsnyder double off the wall, 5-1 Sox. So I'm not saying I said this first, but I made this note before the broadcast said it. I had noticed, I was like, Houck was in short sleeves. Now he's wearing long sleeves. And then they zoom in on the arm. They talk about how he's doing it. And he's got like a patch underneath his arm and underneath the sleeve where he got hit. Somebody had mentioned that it's probably like a medicated patch, whether it's like something numbing or to help with the pain and stuff like that. Yep. I don't even think fucking Houck needed that. I think Houck was like, fucking, I'm going to use that pain
to feed off
it.
Yeah, he didn't want that. It was just a thing that the trainer needed to put on at the time. Oops.
Hamilton, base hit, then steals a base. Little Raffy, 2-run homer, makes it 7-1, strikes again. The boys figuring it out.
There is the coldest picture that came from that nighttime. So the second home run of that night. Oh, dude, I got to send it to you. It gave me chills down my spine. It's
I really want to
cover worthy. It's like cover worthy for like our social medias if we do a nice little like SoxHub edit to it. It's just so sick. It gave me a lot of tickle down below. It's a perfect shot of the third base side of the field where Lil Rafi is following through with the ball on that angle, still going up just over like the shortstop hole, and you can see the ball clear as day because of the night sky. You see the whole crowd up on their feet going crazy. It's just a remarkable shot. Whoever took that photograph, I hope you
Thank
make it
you.
in this world as a photographer. And thank you very much. Yes, indeed.
That's awesome. I'm actually generally excited to see this now because I was thrilled for this home run. Like, this was probably one of my more animated games. Like, Haley was in this room where I record watching TV.
I just
I'm
sent
in
it.
the other room.
But yeah, proceed.
Ooh. You know what? I did see that and didn't think it was that home run. That's sick. Like the Sam Adams sign in the background, just you see
You got Rafi on the scoreboard and everything like that too. Just
the lefty looking up at it like
oh yeah,
that's
everything hits right on this.
I like that a lot. We might have to use that. All right. Next note: Will you switch bats from his pink tape to neon green tape? Wonder if bat broke or if it's a superstitious thing. I know that sounds weird, but he didn't have the greatest um, game here offensively, so I thought it was weird switching bats mid game. Wonder if it was a superstitious thing. I have no idea. But he likes his neon colors.
I haven't picked up on that with bats necessarily. I've picked up on it with other individuals on other teams with like cleats or batting gloves. I've seen it most recently this year with Kyle Tucker. He was like 0 for 2 or 0 for 3 at the plate in a current game with just some normal generic cleats on. And then he switched for his last 2 at-bats and hit a home run or 2 and a double in those last 2 at-bats just by switching the cleats. So it does work a lot of the time. And I think it's obviously mental and psychological, just a comfort level sort of thing for guys.
I could see that 100%. And as we've talked about on this pod, like baseball's such a mental thing where something as simple as just, hey, this bat isn't doing it for me. Boom, I'm going to switch this. And actually, funny story to that. I talk about it a lot, but when we had season tickets to the New Britain Rockets in 05, which shout out to the kid who I sat next to. I think his name was Max at the Red Sox game that we went to. He was really chilling. He was from Connecticut. And he's like, yeah, man, I used to go to Rockets game all the time. And I never talked to anybody that went to Rockets games because they disbanded the team and like moved them. And I was like, no shit. And so like him and I just started going down the list of talking about Rockets players and like our experience at that stadium. So it was pretty cool. But my point to this story is I used to get a lot of like free stuff from players and stuff like that. And so Denard Span, shout out Denard, me and him were boys. And he was at AA at the time for the Twins. And he had a game where he went over, struck out 4 times. And it's at the end of the game. He goes, here, kid, hands me up a brand new bat. Like this thing has not broken. It's a full bat. And I looked at him and I was like, Denard, like this is a full bat. Like it's not broken. Like, do you want to give me another one? He goes, nope. He goes, I sucked with it. You have it. And so I do wonder if it's a superstitious thing. Like just sucked with that bat, pass it off to a kid, or just put it back in the bucket for right now. And let's see what this bat can do.
There's a saying that I say a lot to my kids, especially when they're like throwing equipment or stuff like that, or throwing gloves, throwing bats, throwing batting gloves. I always say it's the wizard, not the wand, or it's the Indian, not the arrow.
Amen.
This certain occasion when you're not throwing shit and it's not a rage session and it's like I genuinely feel like it's my bat. That's the rare time where I will never say that to an individual that it's the Indian, not the arrow, or it's the wizard.
But especially too, like
not
if it helps you get into the right mental space, like all right, with this fucking bat, like I hit a home run the other day with it. We're gonna go with this one. Like it may do literally nothing for you to actually help you other than mentally. I'm all for it.
Yep. Those sort of things are never done really for a physical reason. It's more for that mental confidence and mental adjustment, if anything.
Absolutely, 100%. And to your point too, like kids throwing gloves, bats. Like my number one thing with kids is like treat your glove with respect, and it'll treat you with respect. Treat your bat with respect, and it'll treat you with respect. I know it's an inanimate object, but you love your glove, thy glove love you.
Everything feeds off of energy, whether it's an animate or inanimate object. They all have different energies attached to them. Do you want to give your bat and batting gloves and fielding glove bad juju, bad energy, when all you want to do is succeed up there? Probably not a good idea.
I wonder if Tristan Cassis is rubbing off on this this team here, because he's a guy that's like very energy based, earthing. You know what I mean? Take the shoes off, ground yourself with earth, and feel that energy coming through and whatnot. I could see that rubbing off a little bit on this team.
Yeah, I could see that if, especially with them seeing how productive it is for Tristan Casas, the man himself. They're like, shit, if it works for him, it might work for me. Let's buy into this a little bit. You see a lot of that mental calmness and serenity stuff going on. The last like 5 years with MLB, professional baseball, and then college level stuff. Even when you like go down to the Wild West, like NAIA ball, dude, like people are training for mental skills specifically and putting it into their day-to-day habits and day-to-day practice plans and routines. One university, one college that like specifically does this, Georgia Gwinnett. They're consistently a top 5, top 10 team in the NAIA, consistently make it to the NAIA World Series out there in Lewiston, Idaho. But they, every single day for the first 30 minutes to an hour of their practice time, they go into their meditation groups where their head coach and mental skills trainer at the college breaks them down and goes through a day-to-day daily meditation practice with them. I have a very strong feeling based on reading that Bob Tewksbury book from back when Josh Beckett, John Lester, John Lackey were on the pitching staff. Back then, Bob Tewksbury was the mental skills coach for the Boston Red Sox, the one. It's 2024 now. They got to have a whole entire fleet of those individuals, at least 3-4 of them per higher market MLB teams like the Boston Red Sox here. And quite frankly, do you think Tristan Casas has always been doing that shit? Or do you think he might have gotten that from a mental skills coach along the way? Or do you think a mental skills coach is like telling him, no, you can't do that, dude, or you don't do that? Or do you think they're promoting it and telling him, yeah, to keep doing it, encouraging the man to do it? And then all of a sudden they see that working for that specific player. And then those mental skills coaches or that specific mental skills coach tries to apply it to another player. And oh shit, it works for him too. And then he just keeps trying it with all the other guys along the line. And it all of a sudden starts to work with 70-80% of his group.
I 100%.
From something that people were shitting on Casas for, that'd be awesome if we just see the whole entire Red Sox 40-man roster, well, the 26 that are here with us right now at the major league level, earthing, sunbathing before games, painting their nails, and just calm, serenity, peace, serenity. Yeah.
I would be all for that, honestly, if this team came in here and like when Casas comes back and like you said, their nails are painted, they're all sunbathing out in right field with them and stuff like that, and taking it seriously, not joking with them or anything like that, giving it an actual effort. Because to your point, like I know Georgia Gwinnett does it all the time. Shout out Jeremy Sheets. You're a phenomenal coach and inspirator and mentor and all that stuff. But like generally, that people underestimate the visual aspect of baseball, visually picturing success, trying to just picture at bats, things like that, or just clearing your mind. Like I used to kind of think it was silly when some of these guys like Trotsky Baseball, Georgia Gwinnett, and all these guys, like there would be videos of them just laying on the ground with their hats over their head and stuff like that. But you know what? If you have a coach that builds that culture and you guys buy into that culture and you buy into what he's preaching, whether it's snake oil or not, like you're buying into something. And if it helps, I'm all for it. Like, and especially that mental aspect, that mental approach, that feeling of serenity, peace, clear the mind, and just vibe.
Perfectly said.
Next note, we're probably going to get our longest podcast here today. I have zero doubt. However, the next 2 games, I promise you, much less notes. Jaron Duran, 9 defensive runs saved, second among outfielders. Grotesque that people think he's not a good defender.
Put some respect on the name already.
Put some respect. 2-run homer by Colt Keith to make it 7-2 Sox, or to make it 2-7.
That's their rookie second baseman, yeah.
Yep. Next note, also awesome fucking name, Colt Keith. Like, you sound like a dude that should be a first baseman.
Strong baseball name right there. Sounds like he is a rare positional player
that loves his bullet slider whiskey too. Colt Keith, god damn it.
Hey man, I don't even know if he's old enough to drink bullet slider whiskey. He might be, but I know he's younger. I'll tell you right now, that kid's probably going to be really good one day and hitting 40 home runs as a second baseman. Like I could picture him.
No
being
doubt,
like
old school Dan Ugla guy.
I was say, well, because he's from the left side. I was gonna say I could picture him being like a Robbie Cano type thing, like
I like that
25
too.
plus home runs a year from the left hand side, playing solid second base. This is a random note, but Hamilton gets on first base, ends up stealing second, and the throw wasn't great, despite what Dan Plezak said. The throw wasn't great from Carson Kelly. And Andy Ibanez is playing shortstop. He has to come in front of the bag, and his legs are spread wide apart. David Hamilton goes underneath his legs, and Ibanez still catches this ball, tags him on the ass before he gets to first base or to second base. And the note was just that was an amazing tag by Ibanez to get Hamilton out of second base, like literally in between the legs. Hamilton slid, boom, little tap on the ass, a little boom, right there.
Right in the b-hole.
Then last note for this game, yet another great diving play by Little Raffy. It's absurd. This dude is a walking web gem. Is just making plays, like absurd plays every night. And there are people that shit on his defense just because Baseball Savant says his range above average or something like that is really low. Like,
watch a series, you'll change your mind quick.
Watch him for one game. That's all you got to do because he's going to make a fucking amazing play out there.
Yeah, fuck the series. Watch one night of them.
That's all it takes. All right, so that game, Sox win 7-3, improved to 29-29. Halco 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 run, 6 Ks, 2 walks. Improves to 5-5 on the year with a 1.85 ERA. Offense racked up 12 hits, obviously 7 runs. Duran and Abreu went 0 first, but Little Raffy was the spark plug for this game. 2 for 4 with 5 RBIs and 2 home runs. David Hamilton also 3 for 4, starting to come around a little bit, and he's really starting to grow on me.
Now that he's making the plays, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Now he's making the plays defensively. I have nothing wrong with his defense and base running. It was just the defense, and now he's sustaining a good day-to-day performance out there defensively. I got no problems. Got no qualms with him.
No quarrels to pick with him, let me tell you. Game 3. Game 59 of the year. I did not, like, full disclosure, I went home this weekend, spent some time with the family. I don't get to see them too often, so I did not get to watch this game. Any notes that I have are quickly off the little, like, 3-minute rundown that they have showing things. But we have our $1 million baby, Cooper Criswell, on the mound, opposing Reese Olson, who was having a really good year. 1-0 Detroit after the first inning. $1 million baby making really good pitches, but he's just getting hit. And Manuel Valdez, when he connects on a ball, he has one of the most beautiful pull side home run swings. Like, it generally, when he just gets it and it goes, it really is beautiful.
Majestic.
2-1 Red Sox. Then I make the note, Vaughn Grissom's going on the IL with left hamstring, opposite of the previous one he injured. If you're going to get hurt and get a chance to play, that's the kind of statement game I need out of you. That's talking directly to Manuel Valdez, who didn't have a great start to the series with, like, the error and stuff like that. And then he comes out this game and he goes 3 for 4 with 2 home runs, a double, and 3 RBIs. That is a statement game right there. That's something that you want to see when somebody goes on the IL. All right, we're bringing up Valdez. Like, well, what are we going to get? I know he made the error the first game and whatnot, but if you're going to go out there and, give me 10 total bases a game, I know that's obviously not sustainable, but what more could you ask for?
Can't ask for anything more than that.
Nope. Little Raffy, walking web gem, makes another ridiculous diving catch this game. This is like literally 6 out of the past 8 games he's made ridiculous plays.
And I'm sure tomorrow we'll make it another one.
I have zero doubt. Not to jump ahead, but against that lineup. So just to recap, Cooper Criswell went 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 run, 5 Ks, 1 walk. Gets down to a 3.92 ERA. Bernardino doing Bernardino things. Reliever of the year? ? 0.72 ERA.
A man of consistency, just giving up 1 earned run in April, 1 earned run in May. Can you guess how many runs he's going to give up in June, ladies and gentlemen?
We're going to go
probably 1.
Uno. Keller stinks. 2 innings pitched, 2 runs, 2 Ks, 5.96 ERA. I think he let up a home run, 2. Let's see. Duran went 2 for 4 with 2 runs. Dom Smith 1 for 3 with an RBI. Dom Smith, it's a weird love-hate relationship with him because it's like a little Raffy type thing where like when he does get a hit, it's usually a big one. Like he gets an RBI out of it or like a double. Like we're not seeing the over the fence pop, which I don't think anybody actually expected. I think he only hit like 12 home runs last year as a full-time first baseman DH for the Nationals. Before that, obviously, he had some pedigree with the Mets. But like there was one season where the power just completely disappeared. Something's got to fix with him to get back because like that power can be there. But long story short, he's like a very guy. Like he plays good defense and gets a big hit. I shouldn't even say a big hit, but like an RBI when you need it.
Dare I say he's average?
Try to say he's average. Like couldn't have said it better myself. Just average. But yeah, that was really it. Reese Olson got lit up. 5.1 innings pitched, 6 runs, 5 earned, 5 Ks, 1 walk, allowed 2 home runs. Gio Urshela loves hitting off us apparently because he had his first 2 home runs of the season this series. And that fast forwards us to game 4, where I have a few notes on this because I got to watch the first 3 innings before going to my little nephew's 5th birthday, which, believe me, as much as I love my family, I'm going. I would have much rather been home watching this game, even despite what happened, because I got the shit kicked out of me by a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, and my goddaughter who is 2.
Probably the whole party, too. They were just attached to you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm the Funkle.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I allow it. Like, Haley had to use her teacher voice at one time to yell at the kids. Like, if you scream like that, he's not going to play with you. If you continue to hit him, he's not going to play with you. And I'm over here like, getting fucking knocked around by the kids. Who's a lecturer?
It was worth it.
Yeah. Anywho, game 60
They'll
of the
remember
year.
that when they're older. You'll continue to be the fun uncle, the Funkle.
Hopefully
as you
not,
get older
because
when they get older.
Like I could beat them up now. When they get older, I won't be able to like even if they gang up on me, I'm screwed.
They'll have fun with you in different ways, and it will be beautiful at a older age.
Looking forward to the day I get to throw an old ball.
Amen.
All right. Game 4, game 60 of the year. I have some early notes. Single by Emmanuel Valdez. It's 1-0 Sox. The Sunday Sox are just better than any other team. Little Raffy working a 3-2 walk ? And this is where I talk about that approach, like laying off really close, tough pitches, working a full count, getting a walk out of that. We're seeing maturity at the plate, and it's happening faster than I expected. But I'm happy that's happening. I'm not seeing huge jumps coming. Don't get me wrong. But the approaches there are starting to come along, and
little by little, each series will go a long way. By 162 this year.
You know what they say: 1 foot in front of the other. You got to crawl before you can walk, and you got to walk before you can run.
Shout out to Santa Claus is coming to town.
To be honest with you, I was gonna say it, but then I completely forgot which one it was. If it was Santa Claus coming to town or the year without a Santa Claus.
I got you on the Christmas specials. Don't you worry.
Jaron Duran 2-out single scores David Hamilton 2-0. And then next note, Raffy equals athlete. Another triple. So this is now 2 triples in 1 week for him, where he had 2 triples combined from 2020 to 2023. And he's got 2 triples in a week now. That motherfucker's going to need a day off.
Papi, Espanol.
Another triple scores Dom Smith 3-0. Great send by Kyle Hudson, a.k.a. Huddy, at third base coach. Don't shit talk this man. I know there was a lot of shit talk early on because he got runners thrown out. I will defend this man tooth and nail for what he's done with the outfield defense and his aggressiveness as a third base coach. Now, to draw this up for you, you have Dom Smith, who's on first base. Okay? Down the line, the ball goes. Wencel Perez, the right fielder, kind of takes his sweet time with it. Kyle Hudson picks up that he has no urgency on the ball. Dom Smith's rounding third as he's getting to the ball and about to throw it, and sends him. And it was a close play at home, don't get me wrong, but he is not going to get enough credit for his pickup on that and sending the base runner. Because let me tell you guys, it is a lot harder being a third base coach than you think. And I know, Trotta, you've done it, being a head coach and stuff like that. Like, my specialty is base coaching, whether it's first, third base coach. Like, you have to pick up on those little things, watching how an outfielder approaches a ball. That's why IO is so important. You can watch how they approach the ball. Like, do they sit back and let it hop? Do they attack it? How are they coming through the ball? Because now you have a sense of like, all right, there's a sense of urgency between this team or there's not. So now I have the ability to know, okay, ground ball to the center fielder with maybe an average speed guy at second base, I'm sending him home right now because I saw how he approached that ball or what his arm looked like. And so just shout out third base coaches everywhere. Your job's a lot more detailed than I think people imagine, because let alone trying to do signs, I do the same fucking thing every time when I'm up there. Like, trying to come up with new signs is impossible. There's only so many things you can do.
God. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Mac Daddy's annual podcast rant on how much of an impact Huddy over there in the third base coach's box, excuse me, is making, not only to the decisions on the bases, but defensively in the outfield as well. Mac, you might be Huddy's number one. No, not might. You are Huddy's number one fan here.
Like, I'm going to be honest with you. If you had to ask me, like, who's the number one person you would love to get on this podcast, I think it generally might actually be Kyle Hudson, because I think him and I could deep dive into base running, like things that you're looking for, like the outfield defense stuff and whatnot. Like, and I would just have so much fun talking about that shit with him.
Shoot. Send out the magic conch signal.
Gonna have to. I absolutely am gonna have to. That's all I had for the notes before I had to leave for this birthday party. Let me tell you, I was so fucking confident leaving at 2-0, especially off Casey Mize with Bayo on the mound, who like was looking pretty decent start. I was like, slam dunk win. Like, we got a series win coming our way here. Little did I know, Sox end up losing 8-4. I like texted you like, what the fuck happened? Bayo goes 6.1 innings pitched, 8 hits, 4 runs, 5 Ks, 3 walks. Cam Boozer had an absolute meltdown in the ninth. 1 innings pitched, 4 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned. Don't know what happened there, if there was an error or something along those lines. Devers 2 for 4 with 11th home of the year, triple, 2 RBIs. Willier 1 for 4 with the double. He did get taken out of the game because I think you mentioned he tripped on the steps or something.
Yes, he did.
Okay. I know that
He should be all right, though. He should be all right.
Yeah, he's day-to-day right now. I believe they said they were going to make a decision on him tomorrow. They're hoping that the off day is gonna help. So we'll see. I feel positive that he'll be okay.
I'm not worried about him.
Casey Mize, after a rough start, I mean, granted, he only went 4 innings pitched, but he goes 4 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned, 4 walks, 4 Ks. Really upsets me that we couldn't do more damage, or at least limit the damage and give a few more runs in game 3. Or game 4.
I texted you before the game that I was really skeptical about this finale here, mainly because Casey Mize was atrocious against right-handed hitters, giving up like a well over 315 batting average against to righties this year going into that start, and it was 172 against lefties throughout the year. And we had 7 of our 9 offensive guys in the lineup in that lefty batter's box. It just was not a really good recipe. I didn't feel good about it beforehand, just with the lineup that got put out. And unfortunately, it happened.
Unfortunately, it did. I mean, he didn't have the game of his life or anything like that. Like, there was traffic on the bases. He allowed 9 base runners with 5 hits and 4 walks.
If anything, he was hurting himself with 4 walks and 4 innings right there. Like,
exactly.
I think if he was more in the strike zone, we weren't getting a ton more hits. Maybe 7 or 8, but still.
Clearly did nothing with it. But Sox lose 8-4, and that brings them to 30-30. You're incredibly mid-average 500 Boston Red Sox. I'm curious to see how long this goes on for. Like, that might be something worth watching.
Yeah, it's going to keep going. Like, right when you think they're going to get above 500, no. They're going to drop 2 or 3. When you think they're getting below 500, no. They're going to win that next game, maybe 2 in a row, but not too many in a row to get you all tickly and excited now. Come on, that'd be stupid. That'd be foolish. We don't want to go above expectations here. We don't want people thinking a ton out of us. We also do not want to do too little here, or else we're going to get DFA'd. We're going to get canned. Series look-ahead time after that, man. We got a quick 2-gamer in Boston against the hot Atlanta Braves. Game 1 is June 4th, tomorrow, Tuesday. It's a 7:10 start. We got Max Fried going up against Cutter Crawford. Game 2, we're going to have on Wednesday. It's a getaway day, so it's going to be a 1:35 p.m. start. You got Nick Pivetta going against Spencer Schwellenbach.
I'm sorry, what was
Spencer
that?
Spencer
Swallows a lot?
Schwellenbach.
Schwellenbach.
Schwellenbach. Yep. Game 1 here. Now that we kind of went through those two little short story versions, now here you cutthroat Red Sox fans that like the nitty gritty shit. Rewind to game 1. Max Fried this year is 5-2. He has a 2.97 ERA, a 1.05 WHIP, 66 in 2/3 innings pitched, 54 punchies. Last time out, Max Fried went 8 innings against the Nationals, 6 Ks, 1 walk, no earned, 7 hits. The time before that, a complete game, 1 earned run performance with 9 Ks, no walks, and 3 hits. Cutter on the year here is 2-4 with a 3.29 ERA, a 1.19 WHIP, a 68 in a third innings pitched, and 66 strikeouts. Cutter, the last 2 appearances, 0-2 with 10 and a third innings pitched, 11 hits to 11 earned runs, 4 walks, 2 hit by pitches, 9 Ks, and has given up 2 long balls. You take out Cutter's first 5 starts of the year, he is at a 1-4 record with a 5.05 ERA, a 1.32 WHIP in 41 innings pitched, 36 Ks, 11 walks, 43 hits, and 5 homers through those 7 games. Best start in stretch since after the 5th start was against St. Louis, where he gave up 1 earned, and rightfully so because they've kind of sucked again this year. The rest have been very above average offensive lineups that he has gotten humbled down on quite a bit. Moving forward into this, Cutter career versus the Braves, he has 1 game started. He went 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 walks, 6 Ks, 1 home run, 2 earned. Fried career against the Red Sox dates back to 2020, the last time he faced off against us. He went 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned on 5 Ks, 2 walks. Heads up here that Garrett Cooper's career, 313 against Max Fried with 2 doubles. I know you have Bobby Dahlback up here and Dom Smith, so you have to assume that Garrett Cooper is going to get the start based on the splits here versus Fried. I like that right there. Nobody else really has faced Max Fried here. And then here's a little heads up with Jared Kelenic, the left fielder for the Braves, versus Cutter. He's 2-for-2 with a home run in the career. I am nervous about an extra base hit or one of Cutter's notorious home runs given up being to Jared Kelenic.
Kelnick.
Whatever the fuck. Kelnick. Then don't put the E in between the L and N. Like, what are we fucking doing, man?
I'm not going to lie to you. Probably one of my favorite bits on this podcast is correcting you with last names because there's so many that like, and not like you say them with such conviction, like Jared Kelenic, and it's like, nope, it's Kelnick. And you're like, who gives a fuck?
This guy's fucking booty cheeks anyways. Why are we even mentioning him? It's because he has a home run and 2 at-bats against Cutter. And I think he might go Yabo again against him because, like I said, he's had 6 of the last 8 games has had a home run in it. 5 of the last 7 games, he's given up a home run.
I think Cutter drank too much of that bullet whiskey to start.
Yeah, he's got like a permanent hangover right now from April. It's scary, dude. Fuck. So that's game 1 look ahead. Game 2, we got Spencer Swallowcock versus Nick Pivetta. Swallowcock went into his first outing ever as a professional major league pitcher. Last time out, he went 0-1. Swallowcock had a 5.4 ERA with a 1.2 ERA, 5 innings, 5 Ks. You know who doesn't swallow cock is Nick Pivetta. Goddamn, 2-4 with a 4, and maybe he does swallow cock. I don't know. 2-4 record, 4.08 ERA. The 1.05 WHIP is doable. 35 and a third innings, 42 Ks. Spencer Swallows Cock was a 2nd-round pick back in 2021 by the Braves. Swallowcock made his first career start, like I said, against the Nationals last time out. That's enough about Swallenbach. We got Nick Pivetta here, last time out against Detroit. Yes,
I'm in fucking tears. I am so happy I was muted the entire time because I'm in fucking Swallows.
Now pitching for your Atlanta Braves, Spencer Swallencock.
Like, if we weren't going to get canceled before.
Swallows cock is going to
Oh
report us
my
right away.
God,
Oh,
I'm
God.
fucking dead. All right. Continue
Nick
on.
Pivetta, last time out versus Detroit, went 5 1/3 with 9 Ks, 1 home run on 2 earned, 3 hits, 2 walks. You heard about it around 45 minutes to an hour ago from the SoxHub boys there. Pivetta versus the Braves. Yeah, he swallows cock. 7-5, 5.30 ERA, 78 Ks, and 20 appearances. Last 6 starts against Atlanta, 3-3. That average, that 500 record pops up yet again. Has had a game with a home run in 7 of his last 8 against Atlanta. Not ideal. Hey, you might want to pencil down for FanDuel Marcelo Zuna home run. He has 6 against Nick Pivetta in his career with a 308 batting average. Yeah, man.
6?
Yeah, dude. It's nuts.
6?
Yeah, man. I'm pretty sure Marcel hit one off of him earlier this year, too.
Oh,
in that
he
2-game
did.
set in Atlanta.
He did.
Maybe 2.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure he hit 2.
So, but still, before that game, he had 4. Like, what? I'd be saying the same shit right now. I think I said it before for that last podcast when we went to Atlanta for that crap.
I'm pretty sure you did.
Yeah, Nick Pivetta swallows cock against Orlando Arcia as well. Orlando Arcia is batting a .857 with 2 home runs, 0 Ks, a double, and 1 walk career versus Pivetta. And last but not least, smaller sample size, but still very impressive, Travis Darno, whatever, correct me, fuck him, whatever the fuck it is, 3-6 batting average, 3 for 6, 500 batting average with a home run and a double in his career versus Nick Pivetta. Here's my series look ahead. I don't need a break here, Mac. After my little monologue, I'm going to keep rolling into it. The zins are flowing in the brain cells really well right now, and the voice is feeling okay. Cutter Crawford is going to have a bounce back performance here. I cannot see Max Fried going 17 innings his last 2 outings, going deep again here. I truly don't see it. I think the Red Sox are going to take good ABs against this guy, despite him having a low strikeout total, and other guys that have had low strikeout totals walking in against the Red Sox having fucking season career games here in strikeout totals. I don't see that so much with Max Fried. I think he's going to get hit around a little bit. I think that walk total is going to be a little different than it has been the last couple of times out. He's given up 1 walk in 17 innings. Who is a similar individual that we saw this year that had a similar stat column as a starting pitcher?
Kirby?
Outside of George Kirby, yes. I'm thinking Logan Webb here specifically. In that Giants game that everybody was shitting brick that Logan Webb was going to come in and shut us out in a complete game fashion. And what did he do? What goes up must come down. Logan Webb came back to earth.
I literally go George Kirby, and you're like, well, yeah, sure, him. But I was looking for Logan Webb. That was the correct answer. It was like, nope, that was not
dickhead.
Correct.
Figure it out.
Logan Webb was the correct answer there.
Yep.
You're on a roll.
But hey, George Kirby
Continue.
too. Yeah, like that's the perfect guy right there. Where the Red Sox proved it against Logan Webb. Why can't they do it against a big name, similar big name of Max Fried here with similar stuff, similar numbers? Cutter Crawford's also been getting a lot of heat, but guess what? It's a new month. May is not for him, but June. Oh, Cutter's going to come back in June. Not full back, but like to average Cutter back, because what he's been doing is below average, way below average Cutter. He's going to get back to earth, and he's going to start off this game right here with a 2 earned run job in 6 innings. He's going to get back on the quality start train for the boys, and he's going to give us an opportunity to win, and it's going to be up to the bullpen. Game 2. So, spoiler alert, Red Sox are winning Game 1 against Max Fried on Cutter Day. Cutter resurrects himself, figures it out, gets more back to his April-ish self. Not 110% back, but much better in that right direction. Game 2. Although Swallowcock has only gone 5 innings in his career, Nick Pivetta gets roasted. And I mean roasted by the Hotlanta Braves. And it's the most fitting thing in the world for the Red Sox to split another series right here and continue at the end of the series to be a 500 ball club at 31-31. The Red Sox split this home series against the Hot Atlanta Braves 1-1.
I like the split ski there, to be honest with you. And I'll just jump ahead and then talk about some stuff. I agree with you 100%. I'm with the split ski right down the middle, just because it would be incredibly Boston Red Sox standards to split with them and go 1-1. However, we saw them last time. We competed to some extent one of the games and whatnot. We're not seeing Chris Sale again. So I feel a little bit better about the series. I don't feel great. Ironically enough, on my month look-ahead prediction, I did have us getting swept by the Braves. However, I can sit here and now say, like, I could see there being a split here. And let me tell you, I'm on the flip side of you. I think Cutter continues doing what Cutter's been doing lately. I would love to see an adjustment, but I can see that happening. And then on the flip side, Max Fried has been so good. He stunk at the beginning of the year. People were worried, is Max Fried who Max Fried is anymore? Like, blah, blah, blah. He's in a contract year. Maybe somebody to keep an eye on, Red Sox, just saying. But I can see Max Fried going 7 strong innings, allowing 3 hits, striking out 6 guys with maybe 1 walk at most, and maybe giving up a run if we're lucky, and just not being great. I could picture it being a 5-0 to 5-1 game. I wrote down so many notes during this. Like, to Max Fried's case, like, I don't really care what he did against the Boston Red Sox in 2020. And what I mean by that is it was a different team back then. Like, the only one who's still probably on the team at this point is Devers. So, like, I care about what he did against the current guys in the lineup. Like, great, you went 5 innings pitched last time against the Red Sox. That was 4 fucking years ago. So anything is possible here and can change. Now, to flip that script to Pavetta's standards, what he did last time against the Braves was not pretty. And that's against this current lineup. However, I'm on the flip side of you and believe that Pavetta is going to be the one that bounces back and has that bounce back game, because I think he's got a little chippity on that shoulder. He knows that
he also
the Braves
has better trends going into this start from
he
last
does.
outing against the
Better
Tigers.
trends are going in 100%. So he's got a better start to go into or coming off of going into Atlanta. But I think too, like, I think he wants to, like, the David Price talk of not being able to pitch in the postseason, win the big game. Clayton Kershaw talk, and I know Pavetta is nowhere near that level of pitcher, but I think he wants to put an end to that, put to bed that standard that the Braves are his daddy, if you will. I think we see a strong 6 innings out of Pavetta, maybe 3 to 5 hits, 1 to 2 runs at most. He's going to pitch his balls off, strike out 9 guys, and only walk 3. I'm sorry, only walk 2.
Whoa.
I feel like the 9 Ks
lofty
are coming.
projection. I like the lofty projection.
Now, if I'm a betting man, one of those runs that are going to be scored off of Pavetta will be an Ozuna home run. I am going to take that.
Right over the
I'm
monster,
100%.
right into Lansdowne.
Yep, 100% taking that. But I'm with you. I think we got a split ski here, and we are going to win the rubber match to be able to go into Chicago with a good head on our shoulders.
I'm going to stick with my split, and I'm going to stay with you so we're unanimous here, but it would also be so poetic, not to look over ahead here into Chicago White Sox series, but it would be so poetic. Like you said at the first half of this podcast, it would be beautiful if the Red Sox get swept in these 2 games by the Braves, and then they go win 4 straight.
Or on the flip side, I can 100% picture us out of nowhere sweeping the Braves and then getting swept by the fucking White Sox.
That would also be beyond poetic. And the White Sox have beaten the Braves in the past as well when they've gone in and slept on them too throughout this year. And the Rays, the record against the Rays for the White Sox is sneaky.
If they played the years
good.
all year long, they're a playoff team.
Without a doubt. You know what, while I was looking up like Red Sox stats that we'll get into with my closing statements, not to jump ahead again here, but I saw that like for the month of May, the Chicago White Sox offense as a whole had a negative WAR as a group. It wasn't 0, it wasn't positive. It was like minus 1.9 offensive WAR for the team. You gotta be, that is negative 1.9 games worse than the average MLB player.
Wait, the White Sox or the Red Sox?
White Sox. The
Oh, I
White
thought you
Sox
said the
are
Red, and I'm like
negative
trying to
1.9.
wrap my head around
No,
that. That makes much more
the
sense.
The Red Sox offensively are 23rd when you go from the month of May with a 1.9. So like the White Sox were negative. Forget specifically
The
what
whole
that
team.
number was, but the whole team offensive WAR was a negative number.
Now, I know this is really jumping ahead here, but one note I will make: Lou Bob came back, or is coming back, and he'll be back for the Red Sox series, and that makes me
Lou Bob?
Luis Robert.
Thank you. Yeah, that would scare me a little bit. But recently back from the injured list doesn't scare me a ton. You know, I have more things that will scare me in life than Luis Robert coming back right away from an injury against the Red Sox. I think we'll be okay.
We'll see. We're not going to jump
Thankfully,
ahead.
it's not later on in the year.
Yeah, let's focus on this Atlanta series. So the boys got a nice split ski going right down the middle. You have them winning the first game. I have them winning the second game. So we're just flipping.
I just pulled the Chicago White Sox offensive wins above replacement for May 1st, 2024 until today, June 3rd. It is a negative 1.3. The next lowest is a Washington Nationals positive 0.3 wins above replacement in that time span of May 1st to June 3rd. You have to try to be that bad, dude. Holy shit.
But like, look at, you know what? No, we'll save this for the next spot because
but that's crazy, dude.
Yeah. All right. Well, you kind of jumped into your closing statements. Do you have anything else you want to add there?
Yeah, quick little housekeeping for us here. I wanted to quickly jump into like the Red Sox rankings and what they did month to month. April, like end of March and April, and then May, and then these 2 days of June that had the finales of the 4-game set with the Tigers, the last two there. So the Red Sox offense in April, like we were complaining and bitching and moaning about them in April quite a bit offensively when they weren't even that bad. Like batting average, they were 8th with 250. Home runs, they were 4th with 36. RBIs, they were 9th. Doubles, they were 9th. Triples, they were 3rd. Stolen bases, they were 9th. Runs, 4, they were 11th. WAR, they were 13th with 4. Like, this was a top 10 offense.
But keep in mind, though, polarizing offense. They did those in half the games, or the other half they got shut out or whatever.
An offense that also wasn't story, and they weren't depleted by injuries as well with Tristan Casas.
I was going to say they had Casas as well leading that pack with a lot of that offense. But yeah,
when you look,
the numbers do look good on paper. That's where we talk about variance. Like they would go put up 10 runs,
average,
and then they would let up, or they would put up 0 runs offensively. Like, and that's
the average
was frustrating.
The average makes it look like, holy shit, this should be a top 10 team in the league, wins-loss record-wise. But when you go watch them, you see, oh shit, they scored 8 runs in 2 games, but the next 3, they scored a total of 5 combined. Now I see where that 500 record comes from. That makes sense. Okay. When you go look at the offense from April to the course of May and the first 2 days of June, our batting average went from 250 to 236, splitting that month to month. Home runs went from 36, which was 4th in the league in April, to 19th in the league for May with 27. Home runs, we were 9th. In April, we were 16th. In May, April, we were 9th in doubles, 2nd in doubles in May here. April, we were 3rd in triples. We were tied for 1st in this past month of May. The only team that's ahead of us, fun fact right now, is the Detroit Tigers, who we just played in triples. They were in first place in April, and they were tied for 1st with us in May.
In fairness, this team loves triples.
Yes, they do. We absolutely love them, but the Tigers apparently love them more sneakily. And then our WAR offensively, which makes sense with Casas and Trevor Story both getting hurt. We went from 13th in April with a 4 WAR to 23rd in the league in May with a 1.9. Still a lot better than, and almost doubling the White Sox, but not good enough if you're trying to do what the Red Sox are trying to do, which is contend for a wild card spot. When you go into the pitching staff now, this is where it's very alarming, man. I broke it down from starters and relievers because Fangraphs is a majestic tool for us rabid sports fans, specific in the statistical elements of it. I'm not going to bore you going down through April. It was number ones across the boards with a couple number twos. The Red Sox were 18th in April for innings pitched, okay, with 152 and 2/3. So our thought a couple pods ago about them getting burnt out, like you got to look into last year to bring that into effect as well with the burnt out piece that we brought up. When you look at May, it went from first to almost worst for the Red Sox. They had the best ERA in April. They had the 22nd best in May. They gave the 24th. They gave up, the 24th worst number of runs. They had the 24th best ERA. They gave up 21 home runs in the month comparative to their 10 in April. Their innings pitched went up by 5 in that month difference, but what good is that if we're going to be a dumpster fire there run prevention wise? And our wins above replacement as a pitching staff month to month went down in half. In April, it was a 4.2. In May, it was a 2.1. The FIP is alarming as well due to how many home runs and walks we've increased month by month. The Red Sox were first in April with a 2.99 FIP. Now they are 15th in the league, mid as it gets, with a 4.05 FIP. You go down into the bullpen. This is where it's been the most consistent throughout the month to month, which is what we expected going into spring training. The best piece of this Red Sox group as a whole was the pitching staff, specifically the bullpen, definitely not the starters. It was a 9 through 12 ranked bullpen throughout the course of April. And they improved it to like top 6 to top 10 bullpen in baseball in the month of May. Most of their stuff for rankings was top 5 outside of ERA, which was 15th at 3.74, which isn't even that bad when you go look back at April when they had a 3.41 as a bullpen. The walks per 9 have stayed consistent. If anything, they've gotten better. The home runs per 9 have remained consistent. If anything, have gotten better month to month here. Same thing with the strikeouts per 9. Those 3 numbers have stayed constant month to month here in the first 2 months, or have gotten better from April to May. And I fully expect this to continue in June with our bullpen specifically. I wanted to bring this up, not to bring like an alarm to Red Sox Nation here, just to open our eyes a little bit to the trends in the month-to-month stuff. I'm going to keep doing this April, May, June, July, August, all the way through September, and hopefully October when we're in the playoffs, to show what's going on month to month, split to split, so that we can determine what the lowest hanging fruit is for this Red Sox team and what we need to do at the trade deadline or going into next year in the offseason when we're doing our offseason pods and looking into that. This wasn't a closing statement to bring all this stuff up for us to roast the lowest hanging fruits and our regression as a team. It was more as hey, we're going to break down month by month for you rabid Red Sox fans and you rabid SoxHub fans, and provide you something that, not other podcasts are really doing on a month to month basis in regard to the Red Sox.
I'm very happy that you kind of clarified the reasoning behind that, because before you did that, my biggest thing was like, I was kind of positive about this team, even though they're mid. And I was like, well, now I'm just getting the fact that we're just trending downward, like in every category outside of our bullpen. Like our offense has not been as great. Our starting pitching hasn't been as great. Our bullpen's been better, which is nice. We just need all 3 to click.
Hey, man, if you want to go there, we can get positive. May, we did all this dumpster fire-ish shit with a depleted pitching staff of injuries and a depleted offensive injuries. June, we're starting to get those pieces back. The bullpen has sustained and stayed healthy outside of Isaiah Campbell here, right? So, we're looking good there. The starting pitching, it sucks that we lost Garrett frickin' Whitlock. RIP to his 2024 and most of his 2025 season with UCL reconstructive surgery. But we got Nick Pivetta healthy back. He just had a great start against Detroit. That was the most healthy he has looked on the mound since he rushed his comeback this year. Tanner Houck's doing Tanner Houck shit. Cutter Crawford's got to figure it out. He cares too much. He puts too much on his shoulders, and he loves this group that he has been grinding with too much to regress and continue his regression. The offense, like I said, we are getting injured players back. We're getting Massa soon. We're getting Casas soon. Who knows? This acquisition by bringing somebody up in Robert Dahlback, maybe we just got a perennial MVP caliber talent to hold down the fort at first base until Tristan Casas gets back. And guess where he'd go after? DH. We got Tyler O'Neill coming back, who was the man. He was leading the home run category for the Red Sox beginning of the year before he went down for injury. We get that back in the lineup, dude. You're quickly looking at this team doing the same shit they were doing in the month of April, maybe even better. And then the pitching staff, we can't expect the starting pitchers to do as well as they did in April, okay? But we can expect something somewhat in this median, in the middle ground of that April and May month, which would be around a 3.25 to 3.7 pitching staff ERA as a starting pitching group. I'm not asking for them to go out and go 6-7 innings and get us a quality start every time. That's not the brand of this pitching staff starters-wise. Plus, we have a good enough bullpen that has been sustaining the last 2 months that the pitchers don't have to go 6 deep every time as starters. For me, if I'm seeing this as Alex Cora, specifically with Cutter Crawford, I've been challenging this dude to go quality starts all year. Maybe that is not the play with him, especially with how sustainable and consistent by the numbers our bullpen has been this year. You combo the right pieces following Cutter. That could be very terrifying for a team to figure out. You let Cutter go 4 2/3, a max of 6 hard innings. Stop him at 5 2/3, 6. Don't let him go out again after that. I have a feeling that his season turns around. His numbers look a lot better in this next month. But I really don't see the need to stretch him out with how consistent Tanner Houck has been going deep into games. And also Brian Bayo. Brian Bayo sneakily gone 5+ innings every single start since he's come back from injury, has he not? So, why are we making Cutter do this when he has never really necessarily done this in the past? You can't luck out on going 2 for 2 with this with Tanner Houck and Cutter Crawford. You've lucked out with Tanner Houck here with the sustainability and the quality of his starts going 6+ almost every freaking time out. Don't ask for that out of Cutter. Ask for something more realistic. Cutter, give me 4 or 5 strong-ass innings like our $1 million baby Cooper Criswell is doing. And that is where Cutter changes shit. Because we don't need to save this bullpen necessarily for that. That's what Bayo and that's what do you call it, Tanner are doing. 1 out of 3 starts, Nick Pivetta's doing that too for us, going 6+ innings. So it's not like Cutter has to do this every time, man. Once in a blue moon, sure, Cora, if you want to let him go a little deeper, let him go 6-7 innings. If he's truly showing that statistically and stuff-wise in your eyeballs, not just by the iPad, but by your eyeballs in the game, let him do that. But he doesn't need to do that every freaking time out. If he doesn't have his B+ or better stuff out there, let him go 4 2/3, 5 innings. That's okay. Our bullpen can get it done. I know Boozer just laid an egg. I know Martin just laid an egg. But those are outlier relief appearances by these dudes. They're professionals. They're savages. They're dogs. They know what they need to do to get the job done. Take a little weight off of the starting pitchers, specifically Cutter and his innings pitched usage. Calm them down a little bit. Save them for later in the year.
This right here, my friends, is why but Trotta and I decided to do a podcast, but just the pitching aspect that you dive into there, love that. You went in depth way more than I've ever heard you, and it actually kind of fired me up. I'm glad we turned that to a positive instead of to a negative, because to your point, that happy medium, we had one really, really historically good month, one really, really bad month. Let's hope June's that medium, and then that's maybe where we start to see some really good baseball there.
July, August is where that potential month of Red Sox greatness comes into play, why the rest of the months are mid-tier, 500, give or take, baseball.
Amen.
That's all we need.
Probably should have just made this a segment instead of a closing thought, because I feel like we could dive another 45 minutes into this.
Yeah, dude, and we can get this into a 3.5-hour pod if the listeners are lucky here.
Well, my closing thought here is, ironically enough, has to touch on that. Is we just brought you a 2 hour and almost 40-minute pod on a series that the Tigers split. We talked mostly baseball too. Like there was no little individual like random talk about space or anything like that. And that to me,
Gino's fucking candles, some Italian in Italy. We didn't talk about that.
no, I don't get me wrong, nothing but love for Gino out here. But we didn't talk about that. Like we didn't talk about much other than straight baseball. So you are getting 2 hours and 40 minutes of straight baseball talk. Now I know too, I've heard, the 2 hour podcast, granted this is from family who drive 5 minutes to work, where I got an hour drive into work. So podcasts are my thing. I work from home some days, so I'm allowed to just throw a podcast on in the background. Like, I love it. I'm here for 2.5 hour podcasts. If you're not here for 2.5 hour podcasts, don't care. This is what me and Trotta are going to give you. We live for this stuff. One day
But
we're.
I don't mean to cut your
No,
closing
go ahead.
statement out, but we're providing some adjustments on our end for those listeners that don't necessarily have that 2 hour round trip drive to listen to a 2 hour plus pod. On Spotify specifically, we're going to chapter our scrub of the podcasts, so you can go down and click on it, click on a chapter of it. So say you love the series look ahead, you're going to be able to click series look ahead, and bang, it brings you right to that time, which was like 2 hours. So you don't have to wait 2 hours to listen to that 20-minute segment. Or if you like Max game by game notes and review of the series that we just finished up with, bang, you're going to have game 1, game 2, game 3, if necessary, game 4 written right there. So you can just click on it and listen to that specific segment. We're here for you guys. We're listening to your pros and cons of this stuff. Keep them coming, because it's only going to sharpen our tools in our toolbox and bring this podcast to fucking Mars.
To Mars. You heard that. So you guys didn't ask for it, but we gave it to you anyways. A 2 hour and 40-minute podcast here about the goddamn Red Sox playing the Tigers and looking forward to the Atlanta Braves series. And honestly, I'm here for it all the time. Do I got work early in the morning? Hell yeah. Do I give a fuck? No, because there's no place I'd rather be.
Time flies when you're having fun, ladies and gents. And that's all that Mac Daddy and try to do, is have fun. That's what we're doing here.
We may have talked a lot about swallowing cock tonight, but let me tell you, we're just having fun.
Swallow cock is going to get shit wrecked. You heard. Go Sox. Hopefully we're not 500 the next time we record. God speed.